comprehend. Mic check 1, 2. Giving a mic check to the chat room. Let me know if it sounds good or not. We're about to get this party started. All right.
And the pot calls the kettle black, calls the kettle burnt, calls her mad. Kettle reminds the pot that we both been burned on the same stove, that the parts of our bodies that are layered in soot were scorched by the same hands. Kettle tells pot that she still boils water, holds the hot breath of a white man's tongue, endures the slow simmer of a white woman's allyship, and still we make something beautiful. Pot calls the kettle wicked, and kettle says no, but says she's so magical she burned the hand of the last man who tried to pour himself a piece of her. Says she's so black she is everything, so black she is the beginning. She is the first thing someone finds home in when they wake up in the morning. Says ain't that what it means to be black? To have the world go up in flames around you and still be sanctuary for someone, saving men who lost themselves the night before, saving men who curse our names but forget his mama is made of steel too. And now the pot has no words, but calls the kettle bitter, but loves the glass pan, the fine china, loves all the exotic shit white men put behind glass casings, loves how fragile things not made of steel can be. But this isn't about the pot or the pan. This is about the kettle, the black woman, how she pours herself across the earth, but no one bats an eye when the water disappears. We give ourselves to men who never love us, but they say we are difficult, too hard to break. How we, the kettle, praise this pot, this man for all the water he holds. How we are the only ones who do not call him monster when the water boils over, because we know this heat, this white flame, hot enough to make any of us explode. We are the first ones to make noise when the world goes up in flames, but they say the earth was saved by the man who heard her scream. Pot calls the kettle black, and kettle says yes, but says you best remember you black too. The next time they bring a fire to your neck, they burn black bodies on the stake and the stove. Pot calls the kettle black, and kettle says bitch I might be, says nuck if you buck, then says wipe me down. Kettle says yes my nigga, I be black, I be mad, and I boiled the last man down to his bones when he tried to test me. Pot calls the kettle black, and kettle says hell yes. But don't say my name as if you ain't ever been burnt too.
All right, everybody. I'm glad you're here tonight. Today, and whatever time it is where you at, that is a very powerful poem, and I'll tell you why. Because that's exactly what's going on all over the place, and especially here in the red pill system. Here's a pot calling the kettle black just to get things started. Obsidian, with his weak self, okay, we know this is the funny part. He criticizes black women for dating out, but being pro-black, right? But then he promotes let's say a bigot woman of no color. And let's make the difference here. These guys here, the Caucasian men, I mean, basically, we don't know much about them, but they seem like, I mean, they devoted themselves to a black woman, right? This woman over here, Pearly, she didn't devote herself to black people. But Obsidian devoted himself to her. Gay. This is why the black male community, at the very least, is the way it is. Weak black men giving away shit. Money, respect, energy, you name it. Let me get some shout outs out of the way. In the house, Rico. In the house, Bridget. In the house, Happy Life. In the house, Gemini. In the house, A Lady. In the house, Bridget. In the house, Madison Goldman. In the house, Charzay. We're about to have some fun tonight. Open mic. Creative Solutions is in the house as well. We finna have some fun. Let me go back over here. Wait. Let me go back here. Let me go back over here. I have to play a commercial real quick. Hold on one second. This is my man right here. This is my man. Here we go.
Yo, it's your boy Zaddy P, alter ego to the Queen Maker.
What's good, Zaddy? What's good, Zaddy?
Back at you with a fresh new trim and the 41 shades of men in pursuit to subdue and use you. It's 41 different types of dudes and what they pursue and use women for. A lot of them ain't gonna tell you the game, they just gonna keep using it on you. But I'm your Zaddy, baby, and I got your best interest at heart. Yo, this your Kane, the pro-black hotel. Man, I know a lot of y'all fell for that one, didn't you? That dude is the one that then sold a black woman on struggling as a black man and needing her to sacrifice herself so to help him fight white supremacy. Meanwhile, he gaming her the whole time with pseudo-consciousness and pseudoscience. He sell her the game so he could feed his defeated ego. Get sex, have babies, make money, while she left holding the bag. Every woman needs that one splack of belly, a brother she can call when her man ain't doing her right and working all night.
I'm back with another.
All right. That's Zaddy right there for you. Breaking it down. Yeah, that was High Powered Podcast. If you would like to buy her book, check her out. Check her out.
Last one of you clowns. If you're black and you work,
one nut. Yeah.
You should just.
Someone says, is that the dude with one nut? Yes, that's the dude with one nut. Yeah.
Some Bell is in the house. JP, nobody in the house.
I forgot about that. Stop. Why would you do that? Stop.
If you're not sure what's going on, she's laughing at the fact that one of her slaves made a joke about this man right here, MTR, having cancer and losing a testicle. Now, this is an interesting thing. It's kind of a mixed feeling for me, and I'll tell you why. This man has mocked black women, and to me is just as bad as any supremacist, in my opinion. So I don't feel bad, but but it's still low taste and of low character that, Pasty Things is presenting. And it just shows you that she can care less. The reply this man made to Pasty Things was still respectful. It wasn't like he was cussing her out. But this is how she replies. This is how sickening she is. So it's just a lesson. I really, quite honestly, I don't care what these people do to each other, really, but it's more me pointing out the low taste of the Pasty Things than feeling bad for MTR, because quite honestly, this is the same guy who has no problem calling black women hood boogers. So just with that alone, that's something a supremacist would think of. Calling black women hood boogers, or I could see a supremacist calling black men hood boogers, quite honestly. So there's no love lost here, but let's keep going and seeing what else is going on here.
You guys do that?
So I just want to get this straight. I just want to understand before I go in. I saw the video that you guys just saw, and I said, this can't be real. I was watching this clip, and I'm like, nah, this can't be real. And I watched it again. I said, wow, that's real. So according to Blessing and just Pearly Things, it's cool to make fun of cancer. It's cool to laugh at cancer. You see, you saw that clip, and I saw that clip, and I said, no, there has to be something else to it. No, it can't be just that. Surely they aren't making fun of a man who they just had over there. Surely they aren't making fun of this man for him beating cancer and having to lose a testicle.
What's very interesting that at least it's just catching up to me right now, and Camo is in the house. Camo, welcome. Sutton Bell is in the house. Sutton Bell, welcome. This is the weird thing, is that they are still technically allies. They are allies who are trying to disrespect black women. But at the same time, they are exposing each other because they're showing that their bigotry to each other. Because what he said about just pulling away from, Pasty Things, the best benefit she could have done for their bigoted movement of disrespecting black women is just let it ride, just let it go. He said it respectful. He didn't say anything inflammatory. We're still on the same team technically. This is how mentally disturbed this woman is. That she cannot let anybody black get over on her or even stand up to her. That's crazy. That's very interesting and crazy. In the house, all things Nata Jean and Claudette Jonay. To me, it's really, I'm loving it. I love to see bigots go at each other, regardless of skin color. I love it. He's getting the same flavor she was giving black women. And it's so funny to see how black men blame black women, right? But we eat each other up. And look at this. The queen of the black manosphere, how ironic is that? Is not just any white woman, but a white Caucasian woman who doesn't like black men. She doesn't. So what if she dated an obese black man? That doesn't mean anything. She still felt she was in control. So what if the guy was so broke, but everybody thought he was a millionaire, that he stayed at her house, her parents' house. I mean, she's got money. We know that, right? But if she's that mentally disturbed that she's still staying at her parents' house, you guys got to connect these dots. I don't think I need to play any more than that. I'm going to play a couple more videos, and then we open it up early. Hey, it's open mic tonight. It's open mic.
I'm back with another triggering topic. Now, would y'all please watch this dumpster fire of foolishness? I'll be right back.
Why does it make a woman valuable just because she got wifed up? Why can I not just be single for forever? Why
Bro,
can I not just live my best life for forever? Why can I
But
not
that
be
would never
like
be your best
the
life.
50-year-old auntie who's taking trips?
Yeah, it sounds good on paper for you to think that way. Women derive their true happiness from children in a family and having a strong masculine male by their side. Men, we're different. We get our happiness from kids and leaving a legacy behind, but also we get our true happiness from being on our purpose, creating. Women create children, men create things. Everything that you're seeing, touching has all been created by men.
See, that's, I should have let it play through. This guy is so full of shit, but I'm going to let your trigger break it down for us.
Every person in this world has all been created by women. Make sense? So a man that's not creating anything is a man without purpose. Then he will experience depression, anxiety. He wouldn't have no direction in his life because.
Well, that's 3/4 of the black male community here. So, I mean, and that I'm giving it actually a positive ring to it. So, and it's funny that notice how he, as a black man, is taking credit for what other races of men did. Now, we have our inventions that we did too, don't get me wrong. But quite honestly, if you were to line up black man's inventions and black women's inventions, they're pretty much even, quite honestly. The black woman was instrumental in making some, whether you like the COVID vaccine or not, she was instrumental in making the vaccine. So the funny thing is that he didn't go, well, I'll let your trigger break it down. Let me keep it going.
Because he's not on his purpose. He's not creating. You get what I'm saying? So when you're 45 years old, been living your single life all these years, well, what did you create? What was your purpose? Yeah, you got a Gucci bag. Yeah, you slept with this nigga.
Let me break something down. Your only goal in life is to be happy and not to damage other people. If you do that, you've done more than even this man has done. That's all you have to do, is be happy, express a positive energy to people. That's all you have to do. This man hasn't done nothing. He's done nothing in life except for incite BS.
Been on that boat, you've been in that yacht, but you created nothing. You waited so long, all your eggs is gone. You can't have babies. So
what's funny is him saying this. You know what's funny about this? Is that black women are now more educated and more employed than black men. So that's creating shit. They're going to work. Black women are going to work creating stuff. He's trying to act like, with it wearing shades, he's trying to act like we got it going on. We could have it going on, but we don't. In the house, Chevon. In the house, Camo. In the house, strumming and wrenching. In the house, Rico. That's the weird thing. It's like he's this. And everything he's saying, he's thinking he's saying something profound and new, when really everything he's saying is just rehashed BS.
But now you feel just like that dude that didn't create any resources, didn't create anything. So all human beings, men have a natural proclivity, it's in us, to provide and protect and to create things.
No, it isn't. If that was the case, then there wouldn't be nearly as many black single mothers. If that was really what was in men, there wouldn't be as many black single mothers as there is right now. This dude right here.
And have a natural proclivity that's in them to nurture and create human beings, to create the next generation.
You got it.
Now, first of all, I can't believe that we've come to the point in society where men that are wearing sunglasses indoors actually have opinions that other people value. But here we are in the thick of it. Now, I have so many problems with what this man, if we can even call him that, said. Now, you notice that they said a huge wake-up call for single women. Well, spoiler alert, it's not a wake-up call for single women. Now, this young woman said, why can't she be single all her days and live her best life? And you notice they were quick to shut her down, even though she absolutely can. But a man is about to mansplain and tell her why her only purpose is being a mother and catering to a man. And he used a lot of dog whistles in this video as well, which is, you guessed it, geared to a manosphere-minded man. And this is why I constantly speak about how dangerous the manosphere community is to young boys and developing young men, and really just men in general, if we want to get technical. But let me just get into it. Now, his first statement was that women derive their true happiness from children and a family. Well, sir, you're not a woman, so you don't know what women derive their true happiness from. There are women that are happy with children and a family. And there are also women that have had children and families and have been absolutely miserable. And then there are other women who have absolutely no desire to have children and a family and are ridiculously happy. And he had actually had the audacity to say that women also derive their true happiness from having a strong masculine male by their side. Now, this man said that men are different, though. He said that they get their happiness from kids and leaving a legacy behind and being in their purpose, which is creating. Now, you notice that he didn't say anything about a man deriving happiness by having a woman by his side. He just talked about a man leaving a legacy and creating. And this is the reason why this creator and the men who listen to him will always be in an unhappy state towards women. Why? Because they look down on women and they want women to be happy in that position on the bottom or underneath a man's boot. How is it a woman's purpose to want a man by her side, but not a man's purpose to do the same? So you expect women to settle for what a man just wants, simply using them as an incubator for his children? Then he mentions a man's purpose is in creating and that men create things. Well, let's keep it a buck. The majority of men are not creating things. He's over here acting like the majority of men are making new inventions and creating new things every day. Lies and pure delusion. Now, I'm not saying that men haven't created anything or there aren't men creating things currently, but I think it is beyond intellectually dishonest to act like the majority of men are creators and that's what their true purpose is. Then this man had the audacity to say a woman's purpose is to create people. What in the Handmaid's Tale is that? Now, he says that everything we see and touch has been created by men. More lies. And I really don't understand why just because someone speaks in a way that sounds so-called intelligent, that people often take their word for things. Let me give y'all just a quick mini education on some of the things that women have created that, weren't people. My goodness, GPS, windshield wipers, home security systems, Kevlar, which is used for bulletproof material, telecommunications devices. A woman named Shirley Ann Jackson discovered something with her doctorate at MIT, which led to inventions like caller ID, fiber optic cables, and the portable fax. How about?
All right, I'll stop it right there. Welcome to the stage, Rico. Welcome to the stage, Gemini.
Hey, DJ.
I mean, it's pretty. I mean, these guys are an easy target, in my opinion. I mean, it's, to me, they're showing that it's, to me, I'm concerned and I'm like disgusted in some ways because these men are focused on the wrong things, in my opinion.
Well, let me just say this. When they talk the whole build create thing, that's actually something in my wheelhouse because that's actually what I do for a living. I've been working like shit, man. I don't even want to say how many years, but I know It's been 30 plus years in intellectual property, patents and trademarks. That's what I do for a living. I'm not a patent lawyer, but I've been working with patents and trademarks for 30, 35 plus years. And I found this fascinating because the first time I heard this narrative of men pushing this was Kitten Hills, when old Kitten Hills was like men built the world bullshit. And I was like, that's utter bullshit. And because the first thing that jumped out in my mind was, first of all, you're missing a word. And the first word I would say is you're missing the color white, because predominantly the preponderance of inventors throughout the world were, it's not that black men and Asian men and Latino men have not invented things, but disproportionately, and not necessarily because they're smarter, just because that's the way the system has always been. But I know from working in the field,
You cut out, Rico.
that someone else came up with to tell him how to build the house. When they build cars, they're not building the cars. It's the inventors of these things. Same thing with medicine. Same, these, we have got to stop saying, because DJ, you tell me how to do something, that I'm responsible for the creation of the thing that I was not intelligent enough to think up. So it is the people who think up these new ideas, inventions, medicines, and throughout the history of time that are the real builders and creators. And I can tell you factually, that's less than 1% of the population of all of humanity that has ever existed on the fucking planet. But the vast number of inventors have invented hundreds of things. It is really a small population of people who invent shit. Everybody else just follow their instructions. People who come up with the cell phones and so on. It's like, okay, maybe if you say 1,000 people made the cell phone, do you know how many fucking people are on the planet? For all the cell phones that we've ever been through, it's literally like 1,000 people, because once a technology comes into play, people refine, they improve on it. It literally oftentimes is the same people. You go back in history, the people who bridges, all of these things. So it's different people of different ethnicities. And as they say, what is it? Is the mother invention is crap.
Necessity is a
Necessity is the mother invention. That's it. Thank you, Gemini. So it ends up being a small pop. So a small percentage of any community will come up and say, "Damn, here's an idea," that the larger population then adopts. But it's not everybody in the community that's inventing shit. So I'm like, in any given community, 90% of the people are, 99% of the people are, just like most people are not leaders. Most people are followers. But they want to say, oh, men got to lead. No, most of you motherfuckers are followers. There's like one leader in the community. Everybody else is. So even in manhood, it's like, okay, a man or a group of men decided what manhood would, and the rest of you motherfuckers are following direction. That's what you're doing. But you're ascribing it as if you came up with the concept, the ideology, and that's why I say you. So you can't. So I would tell all these guys, I'm like, look, be quiet, because y'all ain't invent shit. So yes, while women are following it, so are you. You should be thankful that that man came up with this idea, because it wasn't in you. It's not in most of you. So while necessity is the mother of invention, everybody doesn't necessarily come to that conclusion where they're going to say, hey, we're going to think of a better idea. Because for most of us, as we all have fight or flight, yeah, a lot of you motherfuckers going to choose flight. You're not going to stay and say, I'm going to figure it out. You're going to run. So I think that that's really important. I always push back on that argument with the whole concept that they say, the world would end if all the men were gone. I'm like, that's utter bullshit. Women would adapt, because we know, based on whatever our circumstance, if all the men were to die today or tomorrow, I'm like, women would find a way. It's just scientifically proven. I don't want to hear about no fucking reality TV show. Oh, they put the women on the island and the men on the island. I don't want to hear none of that scripted bullshit. I've seen situations. I'm like, women will adapt. They will not fall off, and men just as equally. I think the likelihood of just all men and all women, they'll all eventually die out because we do need the other. But I don't think that men will last 10 times longer than women. I'm like, that's bullshit. And women on the first 6 months will be gone because
Wait, Rico. No,
Mhm.
we wouldn't die out because women will figure out a way to preserve some sperm from a few donors and freeze it and
Sure.
repopulate.
But the whole narrative they say, because what Kitten Hills used to say, who's gonna run the sewer plant? I'm like, they'll figure it out. They always do.
They had to figure it out during war. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even know
Yes.
why these guys are playing like that. Women went and did every occupation there
Yes.
was during wartime.
During the war. And we have around the world, even still today, societies, even in Africa and Asia, there's small societies that are led by matriarchies. So I'm like, this concept that you don't have societies and communities that's led by women is utter bullshit. It's just at some point we ended up in a patriarchal society, but that does not mean that a matriarchal society will not also find a way to first survive and then thrive. So the concept that they push is crazy because these young men, they're just repeating this red pill talking points. And I'm like, you motherfuckers have no idea about the concept of inventions, how few inventors there are for the overwhelming number of things that we have in this world. So yes, men, women, black, white, but the percentage of the population that actually create things that we all literally use is probably less than 1% that the other 99.2% of the population that we just take advantage of. So when they sit there, even when they make the concept, men built the world, I'm like, yeah, but they built it for other men. They didn't build it for women. You act like even the people who actually invented didn't sit around and say, hey, I think this would be great for women. No, men, even male inventorship itself is still built for the dominant population. So
Well,
weapons of war, roads,
let's just be
all of
frank.
that.
Let's just be frank. I mean, these men are saying these things, yet none of them are creators of anything.
Nothing. They're just users. You guys are
And I had
users.
the same debate in the comment section because somebody made that very same statement about men built the world, da 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 da.
No.
Without them, there wouldn't be blah 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 blah. And I said, men enjoy those same luxuries because other men built it.
Yeah,
and then they
built
wanted
it
to go
for
back.
them.
He wanted to go back and forth with me, and said, see that female logic, blah blah blah. I said, okay, so are there men that don't enjoy the inventions of other men?
Okay.
And I said everything I said was logical.
Yeah. You go to something as far as the fucking horse and buggy. It was invented for men. It wasn't even the concept of anybody back in the day of even creating anything for the purpose of women. It didn't exist. It was always things that were invented for the benefit of the dominant society. If the dominant society didn't have a need for it, it was thought of as an afterthought. It's always that way. So you see, oh, they're inventing, and I'm like, you look at something like, for example, just like right now, it's like, that's why, they come up with something for Edie, but they don't come up with nothing for the women because they're more concerned about the fragility of men.
And they insurance pays for it.
Yes.
Well, let me read Sim's comment.
Yep.
She says, well, the army is recruiting homosexuals now. Not too many real men willing to fight for their own freedom.
That's true. Yes. That's true. Literally, and that's another thing. They cry about the military. I'm like, first of all, shut the fuck up, because less than 1% of the population serves. Literally, that's a statistical fact. Between 1 and 2% of the American population has ever worn a uniform. We have an all-volunteer military. I served. My son's active duty now. I'm like, less than 2% of you motherfuckers ever serve. So you're
usually
empowering
Usually it's a family thing. Most people who
Yes.
do it because
Family.
their family have been military
So
members.
I'm like, you motherfuckers are literally cowering behind 2% of men for what the rest of you motherfuckers won't even do. And you're sitting there trying to berate. How are you going to say, because literally, because that's even just pissy things. Oh, men get a draft. I'm like, first of all, we haven't had a draft since fucking World War.
Thank you. Like they always
World War
they always
II.
time warp.
Right.
To,
So it's
to
like
things that aren't even that you had no clue or no concept of. You
Right.
weren't even exposed to these things.
Right.
And so
And
it doesn't even make sense that you're saying it.
Yes.
Like even with this invention thing, it doesn't even
Mhm.
make sense that you're relying on this as a trope when
That
you didn't
had
you
nothing
haven't
to do
invented
with
or created anything.
Yes. So it's like, I was like, okay, we haven't had a draft, and we have an all volunteer force, and even with the draft, during the draft, I think something like maybe 10% was drafted. So I'm like, still, even back then, 90% of men did not go off to war. So it's like,
Especially if they were in college.
yeah, so it's always
Yeah.
this concept where I'm like, you can't keep taking credit for shit that you don't participate in. You don't build shit. You don't create shit. You don't serve. Shut the fuck up bringing that up as a weapon to use against people because you don't participate in any of it.
Let me read some more comments. Kids and Cassie says there have always been homosexuals in the military. They just couldn't say they were homosexuals until the Don't Ask, Don't Tell was repealed, and many of them act like cowards in the military too.
Yeah.
A lady said every generation of my family has served. Mine too.
Yep.
Sherman and Richard said while they're time warping backwards, also those were times when Black men in America were actively hunted down by the Klan, which they love to forget. You know, not only Black men, but Black women too. See, they never talk about Black women being hunted down by the Klan, but they were hung right beside Black men.
And I'll tell you, that's absolutely very true. And I'll add one thing. Black men and Black women were being hunted down by the Klan in uniform.
Yes.
Okay, so you go overseas, you fight for these motherfuckers. You
and
come
you
back
still better
and
walk
you
on the
get
other
hunted.
side of the street
Exactly.
and keep your head down.
In uniform. In uniform.
Yes.
In uniform. See, so that's why I sit there and say it's like the whole concept, whenever they talk about men build, I just want to scream, shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about. Kevin, even when Kevin would say that, I'm like, he completely ignores the fact that the percentage of the population who actively, as this lady said in the video, actively invent shit. Inventors are the builders of society. People who invent the concept of roads, of water filtration, of everything that we just take for granted. Do you know how fucking apocalyptic the world would be if it had not been for individual people, men and women, Black and white, who thought up this shit?
Well, let's just put, I mean, it's
this,
really as simplistic as there's always a balance to the dynamic.
Yes.
So even if men invented things, it was done because women were supportive of them and enabled them to be able to do the things that they've done. They act as though they really act as though that with the world without women, they would survive, and you can't.
Right.
Women can survive without men.
And I would
men cannot survive because you can't be you don't have the capability of creating life without the womb of a woman. You just don't.
I would say this: if these same men had not, if this small percentage of men had not created these things, and say that the world was devoid of men, this same small percentage of women would have done the same thing. The only reason why the women didn't, because the necessity was gone, because it was already created. It was already invented. And oftentimes women didn't get to invent back then because not because they didn't think of the shit, they were not allowed and they would not be given credit. The same reason why the number of Black inventors was low. Not because they didn't think of these things, they wasn't allowed or they were not
right. Their inventions were taken. Their inventions were taken by white men, and the white men took credit.
Literally,
Kittens and Cassie says they always talk about going back to a time they couldn't look white men in the eyes and had to walk in the street when a white man passed them.
Right.
A lady says, who was feeding them during the building?
Mm-hmm.
Strumman and Wrenches said, if there was no women in the world, men would slaughter one another.
Yep.
And a lady said, who birthed the inventors?
and you have to realize the fact too that if you look back in the early years of invention, you have to realize blacks and other minorities were denied the right to read and the right to learn math. So it's not the fact that you didn't have the intellectual capability.
Not just denied, it was illegal.
Yes. So it's not like, so what I'm saying is, I tell people, like, we had the intellectual capability to do these things, but we were denied the opportunity. So I'm impressed at the number of inventors that we had in spite of these obstacles. But for them to sit there and think, and again, even if you remove it all, I'm like, the percentage still is always small in everything. Like I said, even in ideologies, most ideologies, as I said, when we talk about the ideology of patriarchy and manhood, all that still came from a small number of people. When you go back to the Greeks, the philosophers and the scholars, it wasn't all Greeks. Most Greeks were farmers and people who just sat around and did little or nothing. It was a small percentage of philosophers who, whether it was Socrates, Plato, all the various, Greek philosophers that came up with these ideologies, and the teachings and things like that. And everybody else just learned from that.
Let's see what else she had to say, DJ. Wake up, DJ.
Excuse me. Flit, did you have any thing you wanted to say? Okay, he must be just holding on. Okay, we're gonna go to the next one. Here we go.
Yes, I have something.
Maybe I didn't care.
Okay, go ahead.
I was on mute. My bad. Yes, Rico. I disagree with Rico. And the men.
Flit,
that's true.
You're dropping out a
have
little
the
bit.
rights and all that stuff, but you have to admit that men, black men, and also white men created more than a woman did. Submit that. And that wasn't an equal level.
Okay, so what you're saying is that you don't believe that black women and black
you're
men
saying it was equally
created the equally created inventions. Black men and black women, right?
No, of course not. Of course not. If you have to say otherwise, then what's the proof of that?
By what percentage?
Okay. Flint, name 3 things that black men invented.
Black men invented peanut butter, right? But mute it. Don't do that. Don't do that. If you want, don't do that. Don't mute me because I was saying there's 3. Black men created the lights.
We didn't mute
Black
you.
men created peanut butter.
Wait, created what light?
Yes, he did. Somebody muted me. Yes. Street lights, the red, yellow, green, right? Traffic lights. Black men created that.
Mm-hmm.
Was a basic thing around the world people use. Huh? Black men created peanut butter. Invented peanut butter.
Okay.
And a number of things as well. I don't know the dirt one, but
what's it there? At least 3.
Come on, at least 3. What a black man created, it'd be a whole list of what they created.
Okay, so you came up here to say that black men created more things than black women. Again, black men compared to women, and then on top, because nobody was making a comparison of who created more. I just want to make that clear. But you came up here to say that black men have created more than black women, and you can't even name 3 things.
I could, but it's
without Googling. Without
Googling, they were putting
without Googling, you can't.
I don't say that just to say wrong.
So when you come up to have an intellectual debate about something, it will behoove you to Google first.
So you saying I'm wrong? But are you saying I'm wrong though? Or are you saying I'm wrong?
I'm saying you couldn't name 3 things.
I know I ain't saying this is not my subject matter, but I'm just saying if
then why
get up here? Why get up here
and defend something you have no idea of what you're discussing?
Because I already know there's a fact.
This is why people don't like to talk to certain people of a certain demographic, is because they come onto panels or they come into areas and they're not versed. They're not intelligent enough to have the argument. They don't have the range, but they want to come up and debate something that wasn't even brought up. It wasn't even a subject we were talking about.
I didn't think so.
Nobody said more black women invented more things
Nope.
than black
Never
men
said that.
at all. That wasn't even a point. But
Never
you come
said
up
it.
here to argue that point, and you can't even name 3 things yourself.
Because it's not my subject matter, but I just know that black men
Then
created more than black women.
then you shouldn't bring it up. If it's
Well,
not your subject matter,
let me ask you a question,
cut it
Flip.
out.
Flip,
If
let me
it's
ask you a
not your
question.
subject matter,
I
don't
bring
speak
it up.
on
I
it.
bring it up because
What you
y'all
don't
bring it up
understand
in
is
your
you just
conversation.
look foolish and ignorant when you come up and you say these things and you cannot back them up.
I just wanted to ask
if
you.
you're going to say it, be able to pose the argument.
And
No,
I
I
just-
didn't even say he was wrong. It's
Right.
just asinine that someone would come up and say, black men invented more things than black women. Prove me wrong. What does that have to do with what we were talking about?
You're right, Jim, and that has nothing to do with what we were talking about. And I don't think we can say either way. He could be right. He could be wrong. I have no idea because I have no idea of the number of black men inventors or women inventors throughout the history of time. I'm not about to invest that much research into it. But like you said, that wasn't even a topic of the conversation. I never said black men. I said less than 1% of all of mankind, black, white, blue, green, whatever, invented anything. So it doesn't matter if it was more of them. The numbers of them all combined is so small. Nobody need to be humble bragging about it because all the rest of you motherfuckers are following instructions, which is what my issue is. My issue is when they come up with the cure for all these diseases, the people who are making the medicine, you're following instructions because the scientists who studied it and did the formulas and all that, they created it. So when I go to the lab and I do all the stuff that they tell me to do, I'm not creating anything. I'm following instructions. That was my issue, but he want to make it they did more than they did, which is a stupid argument in the first place, which is the argument that all of these idiots make. Men did this, men didn't
No,
do
it's
shit.
it's what you created the argument though, Rico.
No, I said that all of population.
Wait,
the black
Rico.
man was
Who
talking on the
created?
panel
Wait,
that
Rico. Who created the argument? Who created
don't
the
boot me
argument?
out. Let me explain. You created the argument because the man was talking a different subject, and then you brought about what women
What
created
man was
and
talking about what man was talking about a different subject?
the man that was he played the first video that DJ Touch played or whoever played it.
What was the argument?
Wait, Rico.
Black man built for example, black man built the country. I mean,
He never said black.
That's not what he said.
He said, yeah, you're right. I stand corrected. He said men. He didn't say black men. He said men. But y'all made it as a black.
Who created the argument?
But y'all made it as a black man thing. One of y'all was speaking like
he never did.
Y'all made it as a black man. He spoke man. And
who made it as a black man thing?
Y'all did. Y'all was in your conversation.
What did we say that made it that? I said men. I never said
not
anything
Rico,
about
not you, Rico. Before you got on, when DJ Torch played the video, he was talking about men built this country.
Rico was the first person to say
men built the things, and you're saying that since he's a black man,
Rico was the first person to say something.
I thought I was.
No, I talk about the video.
What about the video?
Wait, everybody.
When he let the panel open, he was playing videos. Right? He played a video. Then you was already on, or you came on, and then you spoke about the video before Rico came on. Rico wasn't the first one that spoke.
Okay, I'm going to speak for 1 second here. Flit, if as long as you know how many more inventions black men made, or you have a percentage or something like that, that's something that you can bring to the table. If you don't know, I'm not going to say that you're not correct or that you're not true, but you cannot.
I don't have to know that I'm not true.
Flit, I'm still talking. Flit, you can't bring blind comment. You can bring a blind comment, but you can't continue to repeat it like it's a fact.
Oh, so you saying it's not a fact?
I'm saying it's not a fact.
You saying that more black women invented more things than black men? That's what you're saying. You want to put money on that?
I'm not saying that.
You want to put money on that? I don't know if it's right now.
Did you just hear what I said?
My blind belief that it's not a fact. I wanted to put money on it. Are you willing to put money on it?
Flip, did you hear what I just said?
Go ahead.
Okay. This is what I'm saying. Is if let's say 51% of all Black inventions were made by men and 49% was made by Black women, or even let's say 30-50, right? What the dude was doing in the video that you watched was two things. One, he was saying that men built everything, but he didn't say Black men, did he?
Men, that's include Black men, white men,
right.
Chinese men.
No, okay, right.
You're making it men,
but he said men do all the building and women do all the nurturing.
Yes.
Do you believe he's right?
Not 100% right, but he would say it was not. He just generalizations, not everything, not 100% all and everything.
Okay, so what percentage do you believe that would be?
What percentage of men created compared to women?
So do you believe men cannot nurture?
Not the way a woman can. They're very different.
Wait, you dropped out for 1 second.
Men can nurture to some degree, but some degree, but not as much as a woman.
Okay.
Nature, very nature is
so we can say that women are better at than men at nurturing, but
not better at they created that way.
Okay. Now, are we going to say that women cannot create or build at all? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not going to say that. No, that's not true.
Okay. So basically the thing is that's the point that we were trying to make, is that you can't really take a broad comb or brush and say really either way, because I believe some men can nurture and I believe some women can definitely invent and build. Again, what this young man in that video was ignorantly stating was like women couldn't do what men do. When through history, including Black men, you have to have the ability. Not only do you have to have the ability, but you have to have the opportunity. If it's like, remember when they used to say that you're pretty old, you're up there with me. So you remember the time when that black quarterbacks, they were said black men could not quarterback. Remember that?
Yes.
I believe that this young man is making the same statement right now about Black women. If you see my point.
I'm sure he's smart enough to know that that's not the case.
Then he's lying.
You want to make it out to build up your argument, but usually people don't know. People intelligent enough to know that you can't say all absolute and everything is not true.
Okay.
So come on.
I understand. I'm going to make some shout outs and then I'll let Afro speak for a minute. Henry Mars is in the house. Miss Globe Girl is in the house. Gemini's in the house. Camel's in the house. Vanna Ray is in the house. We have Siobhan in the house. Miss Globe Girl is in the house. We have Tiff in the house. Jay Daniels is in the house. We have Sim in the house. Creative Solutions in the house. Claudette Jonet is in the house. We are going to keep it going. Afro, what are your thoughts?
Peace to the panel, and thanks for having me up, Torch. I'll keep this brief, to be honest, because I want to see the clip that you got on the screen. But I don't really like, and I know it's not about feelings at all, but I really don't like the back and forth between the genders because, and I put this in the back chat, I literally just got off the phone with my tribe in Cameroon, and we have men and women of African descent. We are built in medical centers. We're built in schools. So for us that are putting in the work, and I'm not even trying to insult nobody, a lot of this gender war stuff really just boils down to the internet, man. So, let me just say this, and I'll close up. It'll be less than 10 seconds. If you all are interested, or you might be listening, you might be of Cameroonian or T-Card Descent. That's my tribe, T-Card, Tikar. You can look us up at 1tcard1people.org. And that's spelled out, no numbers in it. 1tcard1people.org. But
Are
I
you
appreciate you,
FBA? Are you
George.
FBA?
Yeah, definitely.
But your lineage is on Cameroon? Way back?
Yeah, I took a DNA test. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Interesting.
Yes, sir.
All right, I'd like to kick out a couple more shout outs. We have Quita Ward in the house. Quita's here. Heathen Queen is in the house. Anna is in the house as well. Here we go.
Vanna Ray.
And Vanna Ray as well.
Maybe I didn't care because I didn't value the accusers' stories, like because they were Black women. You know, R. Kelly.
I'm gonna play it.
R. Kelly, I'm from Chicago, and you know, R. Kelly is a world icon, but definitely a Chicago legend for the most part. And you know, the step in music, the gospel album, and all the things that us singing "I Believe I Can Fly" at kindergarten graduations were all things that were like a huge part of my childhood. Making a song with R. Kelly was a mistake. Here's the thing. I think for a long time, I was only able to understand R. Kelly's situation and presence in the world when it comes down to his trial and his accusations and his accusers as a victim. And I don't know if that's because I'm from Chicago or because he made great music or because he's a Black man.
Mm-hmm. But you saw him as a victim.
But that was just I think like the thing is like we're programmed to really be hypersensitive to Black male oppression. It's just prevalent in all media, and when you see niggas getting beat up by the police, it's men. Like that's like a scene that you see. Like slavery for a lot of people, they envision men in chains. Like, but Black women are, exponentially a higher oppressed and violated group of people. Like just in comparison to the whole world, Maybe I didn't care because I didn't value the accusers' stories, like because they were Black women. Because like, usually like niggas that get in trouble for shit like this on their magnitude of celebrity, it's light-skinned women or white women. That's like when it's like a big story. And I think like never really seen any pictures of R. Kelly's accusers, and I never really.
They're not what you think of when you picture the light-skinned woman or the white woman who would get the attention that you say the other type of women would get.
Well, that's deep because like I said, I've never seen them before. I can't be right all the time. I jagged, or that's not niggas proud. I made a mistake.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that those women are getting voices now, and that I can grow to kind of understand.
In my opinion, he should take the philanthropist label off of his name, because this is same black male stuff. If you are saying you are a philanthropist, you are a thinker. You are somebody who sits down and studies a situation. And now he's trying to act like he didn't do that. He's looking like he's looking for words that will help his reputation or something like that, more so than just taking ownership and responsibility of his stupidity, basically. There was I mean, just think about it. The R. Kelly thing had been going on for years. So it's not like he had to quickly make a decision on whether R. Kelly was a victim per se or not. So basically, to me, in my opinion, he's lying. Maybe saying a bit of truth here and there, but overall, he's lying. He's just basically trying to better his reputation because he knows that knowing the truth now, his comments didn't age well. And I'm going to open up the panel to make their thoughts and opinions.
Can I go first?
Go ahead.
Yes.
I disagree with you because everybody knew the black woman is the biggest supporters of R. Kelly, and they knew that that video of when he pity on the girl, that video been out and people saw it. It been out before the internet, and people saw the bootleg and all that kind of stuff. And then when the internet came about, they had copies, footage of it, and those who seen it could be guilty of looking at child porn. But that's basically what it was. It was out there on the internet.
Okay,
And
can I ask you a
with
question?
that said, black women was aware of that, and they still supported him and bought his records. And
can I ask you a question?
The Name of Love and Dance to and everything, right? And the weddings and everything. So
can I ask you a question? Can I ask you the question?
Go ahead.
What percentage of black women?
Then you gonna ask me that? Do I know how? Come on, stop asking me the ridiculous question. No, I want to know the percentage of the black woman. There's no.
He's asking you a question because you're being ridiculous by making statements.
Oh, so black women that support R.
quantify.
Kelly.
If
Black
you
women that
can't
go to his
quantify if you cannot quantify the statements, you're being ignorant by making them. That's the whole point he's making when he asks you the question. You make these asinine assertions that you can't back up, and then you get mad when someone asks you. I can't understand how you get on panels and you embarrass yourself every time you get up because you just say anything. You're just repeating what you hear. Nothing that you're saying is coming from your own brain. It's like you can't process new information. You can't have a dialogue because new information isn't getting there. And so when someone asks you a question, you think it's ridiculous because you can't think for yourself.
Okay, why are you being hypocritical? How many do your stats and statistics you give regarding this question he asked me? So that you're being unfair.
Because you're making the statement, sir. You're making the statement.
No,
please, I'm trying not to tell you to be quiet. Be quiet when I'm talking. If you make the assertion, if you bring it up, it's your responsibility to quantify it. You have to be able to quantify it. You brought it up. Nobody else brought this up. The same thing with the last time. You brought up black and white, black men and black women, not anybody else. You did. So when you bring it up and you're asked to quantify it, it's your responsibility to do so.
Okay.
Because you're introducing it, nobody else.
I understand what you're saying, but your whole argument under you talking you could talk for hours and you do not quantify anything you're saying about black men.
That's a lie.
Except specific points.
Sir, that's a lie.
Can I give my 2 cents?
Please do, Rico.
Okay, I just want to say this. I think the situation with R. Kelly, I don't think it was just black women. I think it was black women and black men still continue to support him after these credible allegations came out, because I just think as the black community as a whole, we have a hard time relinquishing support of our heroes. We don't have enough of them. And that's a big part of the problem is that, so whether it's R. Kelly, Bill Cosby, any, and this didn't even start with R. Kelly. You go back in the 4 days, they talked about things that, I think, I forgot what the singer name that sat there and married Sam Cooke's ex-wife, and then some of the shit that the Jacksons was doing with the brother married the ex-wife and so on and so forth. As a community, we struggle with letting go of our heroes because we have too few of them. I just think, so I don't think it's a man or a woman thing, because I know after he was credibly accused, they were still, playing his jams in the clubs, and people were still stepping and shit to it, and Trapped in the Closet Part 33 people, you know, we as a community was feeling his creativity, so we're too often willing to look past the flaws of someone in our community if they're talented or gifted, because there's this fear that, well, if we take this one down, we don't know if we're going to get another. So, you know, but what I think the problem that we do that we tend to overlook is we tend to overlook that these predators or these people, these flawed people that exist in our community, they tend to do damage primarily in our community. It's not like they're doing, you know, so we're protecting them because, and I've heard it for years. Oh, if that was a white person, it was like, who gives a fuck if it was a white person or not, whether or not they get away with it? That's no reason to allow a black male perpetrator to victimize all of these girls and women in our community simply because the white community don't throw a white guy in jail for doing the same shit. That's where we get caught up as a community, because it's this, you know, circle the wagons, you know, and it's a good thing, but this is the bad part of being on code, being collective, not trying to down another black person. This is the bad part of it, and we just happen to come to deal with it. Like I said, this young man, he worked with him. He's a, you know, people do it. We do it around culture and color. People do it around communities. You know, tribes circle, and whether it's an athlete, an entertainer, whatever the case. I mean, Michael Jackson had some credible accusations. I can't say what he did. I'll tell you this. He put himself in a lot of questionable fucking circumstances that he shouldn't have. So whether or not he did it or didn't do it, he put himself in a lot of questionable things. But we still circled around. Well, ain't nobody see him do it. I'm like, motherfucker, I don't have to see him do it. If you tell me, I'm gonna believe it. I celebrated when OJ was found innocent. But yeah, you know why we did that? We did it because black people wanted to see a black man get away with fucking murder, because we had been watching white people get away with it for so long. But yet still he could have murdered someone black. And so that's what this is. I do not think we can say, you know, because it wasn't black women celebrating OJ. No, all of black people were celebrating it. All of
And
black
let's be real, Rico. A lot of the times that there have been black women have been suppressed, and some of it, most of it is our own doing in setting ourselves on fire to protect black men's image, to protect black men because of the history of them being lynched or being prosecuted at higher rates, and we did it to our own detriment. So it's still this indoctrination that needs to be deprogrammed from most of black women. They have to be deprogrammed from thinking that they need to protect the image of black men, because it's crystal clear throughout history that black men haven't been concerned with protecting the image of black women. In terms of R. Kelly and all of these other different people, yes, you know, there are women that still bought his music, but let's be real, there are women who write serial killers in prison. So let's not pretend like this is some type of thing where, you know, oh my God, black women are some type of deviance too. You have some people that just, you know, they don't function right mentally, that do these things.
And here's the irony of it too, right? So while Flip, I can hear you saying, even if I wanted to take I'm gonna be generous and take your position that when R. Kelly did that, it was 100% only black women supporting him, right? Let's just pretend for a minute that is true. It still wasn't black women. Let me finish. I'm going to say, I'm being generous, and I'm gonna take your side for a moment. The reason why that argument falls flat is because you're talking about the supporters, not the perpetrator. Because it wasn't black women that peed on that little girl; it was a black man that did it. So you don't see a preponderance of black women out here, celebrities or not, committing these acts.
Actually, they do commit the acts.
It would be a fair argument if case after case. I mean, we got 2 young black billionaires just last week, and these motherfuckers, instead of somewhere spending money and celebrate, one is jumping the other. You don't hear about black women doing this stupid shit. So that's what I'm sitting there saying. So even if you, how can
Rico, I'm glad you brought that up.
And that's what I'm saying.
Let's go into that right now.
Okay, but just one second, DJ, and I'm be done. How can the criticism be of the people supporting them, but zero accountability of the people? There would be no reason for black women to support him if this motherfucker hadn't pissed on that little girl or hadn't been being a sexual deviant. That's what I'm saying. So you can't go, oh, women supported him, but he fucking did it. That's crazy. But go ahead, DJ. Thank you.
I understand that regard, but you know, women still commit acts like that as well. You know
but
that
the men are doing it.
Come on, my nigga. What the fuck else do y'all want from me, bro? I stay out of the way, take care of my daughter, do work. I don't need ugly bitch, trifling bitches, whatever the fuck it is.
Chris Brown fires back after assaulting Usher. Chris Brown has clapped back after his alleged assault on Usher. His recent response is shocking as hell, and we really can't believe it. New details have emerged about Chris and Usher's fight and Tiana's involvement in the brawl. Chris and his team have been accused of initiating the dispute. Is this another classic stunt from Chris assaulting people and disrespecting women? Has Usher finally realized that he was wrong to support Chris for all these years? Stay tuned to find out the latest hot gossip about the recent brawl between the two bros. Chris and his team allegedly jumped on Usher during a birthday party that he threw for Chris over some mess that involved Teyana Taylor. According to inside sources, Chris was intoxicated when the whole thing happened. He allegedly had no idea that Teyana was invited to the party, and when she arrived, he lost his cool seeing her. Wondering why? Well, a source present at the party revealed to TMZ that Chris was attempting to talk to Teyana, who was also in attendance and sitting on a bench just outside of the ring. Apparently, Teyana was ignoring him, and she was avoiding such a situation because he seemed like he was under the influence. No pun intended. Another source said that her ignoring Chris really pissed him off and he started to yell at her. And that's when Usher intervened and tried to calm him down. Anyway, insider sources have finally defined the reason why Chris wasn't thrilled seeing Teyana at the bash. Their beef exists because Chris holds Teyana responsible for his canceled American Music Awards Michael Jackson tribute performance. Apparently, Teyana was supposed to perform the tribute with Chris, but pulled out at the last minute due to other obligations. And Chris feels like it's a big reason as to why the performance ultimately got canceled. According to TMZ, when Chris approached Teyana to talk it out, she said he was out of line and needed to back off. She accused him of being under the influence, and apparently this was when it all went south. And if the rumors are true, he was so pissed that he allegedly called her a bitch. Per recent reports, when things started to get heated between Chris and Teyana, Usher tried to intervene and cool things down. But that did no good because Chris got more agitated and allegedly called Usher a coward. After this, Chris left the party with his entourage and went outside, with Usher following him and trying to stop. The situation worsened, and allegedly they got into another heated argument, which led to Chris and his team having a physical fight with Usher. While there are no details that have been shared about the physical fight, TMZ says that after the one-on-one between Chris and Usher, Usher came back with a bloody nose and possibly broken ribs. Fans
Wow. I got to keep it going. I just want to stop it for a second.
are furious at Chris, and he ain't getting a pass this time because it ain't the first time. Chris has had a history of physical fights and consistently lousy behavior towards women. Insider sources have revealed that Usher later reached out to Chris, but instead of apologizing, he blamed it all on him. Usher hasn't said anything yet and is reportedly not talking to him either. Fans have quickly pointed out that this is not the first
Jen J is in the house. Jen J is in the house.
time Chris got into a fight with someone or misbehaved with a woman. One fan tweeted, Chris Brown beating up Rihanna, has severe bipolar episodes, backstage clashes where he is caught fighting people, fought Frank Ocean, caught DUI, has like 14 felonies, detained in Canada, Philippines, America investigated by police for aggravated assault on multiple bases. Another one said, Chris Brown needs to be locked up. Like, this is not okay. Indeed, this really is not the first time Chris has been accused of picking up a physical fight with someone. In 2009, Rihanna and Chris got into into a heated argument, which led to Chris engaging in a physical fight with her. He left her with visible facial injuries, and she was hospitalized. While Chris faced community labor, 5 years probation, and domestic violence counseling for what happened to Rihanna, people were shocked that he could behave in such a way with his own girlfriend. He allegedly punched her in the face and had also threatened to kill her.
My opinion, he should be in prison.
Utterly ridiculous. And it's a pattern of behavior. And this is the very thing that, women need to watch out for. But a lot of these women that deal with him are starstruck. And she just had the audacity in his mind. She had the audacity to stand up to him and not deal with his bull crap. She had the audacity to say, no, I'm not going to allow you in my face. You go do what you need to do. And I'll deal with you when you're sober, which is what you're supposed to do.
But the reality is this, that, and I do think that anybody that support him at this point is a part of the problem and a complete ass. But it's not like he needs their support to do what he does. And what I'm saying is to sit there and go, oh, he wouldn't act that way if people didn't support him. Like, no, he was acting that way prior to him having that support. He's a fucking problem. He needs to be canceled. He needs to be incarcerated. But
and this is the problem.
Nonetheless, you can't just look at the supporters and say, but if it wasn't for the supporters, he wouldn't do it. No, the supporters is the second step. Him and his behavior is the first step. He's nothing but a punk with money. Minus that money, somebody would have been stomped the mud hole in his ass.
And again, it goes back to the coddling that the Black demographic does with these types of people. And that's why a lot of times people aren't sympathetic to our plight, because we protect these types of people. It's seen on every level. Every time something happens with somebody that's Black and they're running from the police, we don't even, not me, because I personally don't do this, but as a demographic, it's not, okay, so he was a criminal. He was 14 years. He was 14 years old. Yes, he was 14 years old with 5 guns in the car, with money in the car, and a stolen car. So you throw out all of those aspects just because he's a Black child and you want to protect him. No, do like every other community does and shun the criminal, and so that you can be protected. By protecting these criminals incessantly, we've been our own demise.
But here's the really crazy part about it is, and I'll say this, is I look at Chris's behavior and I'm like, what do we got? Like a dozen YouTube Chris Browns? They just do it. They do exactly what Chris does.
Just a dozen?
Well, I'm just saying. Exactly. But we have Black men who behave the same way. They just don't do it physically because they're too fucking cowardly. But the problem is, it's the same dynamic between they will verbally abuse, berate, and assault Black women every day, and they have the same number of supporters, primarily male this time rather than females. And the same way, if these Black male supporters don't want to take the blame, I blame the content creators who do the vitriol and the degrading and so on and so forth. And the supporters will be like, oh, it's just entertainment. You can't blame me just because I watch it. Then don't blame the supporters of the Chris Brown and the R. Kelly. Blame the perpetrators of it. So if that is the argument, then I say we also need to blame the perpetrators of the YouTube violence that exists out here. And that's who I pretty much go after. But I'll say the same thing, that the supporters of Chris Brown and R. Kelly are fucking stupid. The same way I say the supporters of the Tampon Daniels and all these other motherfuckers are stupid. Y'all are stupid because these are nothing but some fucking punks. They do this shit. They get away with it. And while you're not the reason or the motivation for them doing it, you're the person who gives them cover. You make them think that what they're doing, you make them stay longer, because if they didn't have an audience, they would stop it. If Chris didn't have an audience of supporters, or R. Kelly, they would have stopped. If people stopped buying their records and stopped going to their shows, they would stop doing it. But if you don't, they're going to continue, because they're going to keep getting money. They're going to keep getting people that's going to keep enabling them, and they continue to do it. But a problem without an environment of enablers quickly burns itself out. It's like a match. It burns itself out. Absent the oxygen, the flame goes out. But as long as we continue to give it oxygen, it continues to burn brightly. That's what all these fools are. Chris really needs his ass whooped. I don't want imprisonment. I want a man, when he ain't got his goons around, to put foots in his motherfucking ass. Because somebody need to stomp some common sense. Because that's what will move a man. That's what moves men in this real world. When you're in a space and you realize that you're just a hair's breadth from no longer being here, you wake up. Anything short of that, if he can just go to jail and pay this money and get good lawyers and get out, he's gonna come out doing the same shit. But it's gonna catch up with him. It always does. Celebrities get their nigga wake up call. Shit, no. He would have beat up the wrong woman if he was a cashier in Tappahannock, and somebody would have stomped the mud hole in his ass. Jen J. So I agree he would have done it, but it wouldn't have been 14 felonies. He would have got 1 or 2, and somebody would have tagged that ass.
Rico, I can't agree with you because by sheer virtue of the many women that that have been victims of DV, and these guys are still rotating in and out.
Yeah.
So there's not enough protection for Black women for Chris Brown, regular guy, to be getting stomped out.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say, Jen J, you're absolutely right. I agree. Support didn't make him this way. I just think that the support continues to feed the oxygen for him to continue this way, as opposed to if I'm just Joe Blow and I go out there and I smack somebody's wife and their husband whoop my ass, I'm thinking long and hard and twice before I ever do that again. Because Chris didn't ever get that, I think for most men, the absence of consequences, the absence of it, makes them continue with their bad behavior. Chris, he's never faced any real consequences. You see the way he beat up Rihanna? So he beat up someone rich and famous, and the circumstances were meant. And then I think he went to DC. Kitten can tell you he went to DC and beat up somebody. I think that was the one that got him on probation. It was the DC charge. So he keeps getting away with it in a court of law. He needs to be in the court of the fucking streets. The court of streets is different than a court of law, where you can pay your way out, where somebody gonna put their motherfucking hands on you. That's the difference. That's what needs to be done. Yeah, I want somebody to throw a chair and bust him upside his motherfucking head. You come out of that different when you're on the receiving end. You come out different.
My opinion on this is basically he's just one of many in our community, and this is basically what I'm trying to express to a lot of the men in our community, is that when you side with somebody you know is wrong just because you have either some kind of respect or admiration for them, and you know they're wrong, then you're helping to destroy the community. I believe Rico really articulated this very well, because that's where I was going with this. And I think, Rico, you read my mind too perfectly. It's like, how can we fix our community when our heroes are villains? I mean, at best, even Usher, Usher knows what this dude's about. Usher can read. Usher's smart.
Right.
So this is really our core problem as men. This is the issue we have. We have too many men in our community, and literally, I mean, all of the men on YouTube, and definitely all in Red Pill, that it's funny, they claim they're trying to fix the community when really they're just doing further damage. Whether it be to inspire violence against Black women or to inspire bigotry. Again, I keep saying this, like, I don't know, over and over again in my videos. If you were to take KKK speak. Gemini, who was that we played? Was it Just a Piece of My Mind who came out with Negroes for Sale, right? And
it was, yeah.
And basically, she was showing the similarity in bigotry speak between red pill black men and slave owners. I mean, you got to understand, if you're gonna fix if you really believe you want to fix the community, many of us out there, we have to fix ourselves. Let me give you another taste of somebody.
Hey, DJ, can you drop the link again for Claudette?
Sure can.
Just drop it so that way it'll be recent. Claudette, he can ready drop it now. There you go. Hit that link.
Okay, I'll wait a second just in case Claudette has something to say. This is open mic, so we will wait for people to come up and say what they want to say. It's appreciated.
You know what you were saying about Usher knowing that's another thing. And the same thing that Chance was saying. Like, they're protecting other black men because they will believe them over black women. They will believe them over women. So Chris Brown's actions that I know of, and he may have had altercations with other guys, but for the most part, his altercations have been with women. So most of these guys think, well, he's not going to raise up to me because I'm another guy. So, I can, I have that in common with him. I can calm him down. I can talk to him, not knowing that his intermittent explosive personality disorder doesn't care what your gender is.
Okay, I'm going to start the next one.
Isn't Chris also? I think they said I think Tupac suffered from that. Where early on in his years, he and what was that? Was they said something like a movie he saw, and Chris kind of reminds me of him, where something, it was Tupac, and I think it wasn't Belly. What was the name of the movie he was in? Where all of a sudden they said, and then all of a sudden he took on the thug persona, and prior to that he wasn't. It was Brenda had a baby, and then whatever particular movie he played in when he was in New York, and then all of a sudden, then he became Tupac, the Crip Blood or wherever the fuck he was, and he was so caught up. Juice, that was it. Thank you. After Juice, everybody points to that movie and that role where all of a sudden he changed. And they say, art imitates life, or life imitates art, whatever the case may be. But because he didn't, while he did grow up as the son of his mother was a Black Panther, and they were very militant, I don't think they were overly violent. So he didn't necessarily grow up in that gang culture. But then after he played that role, all of a sudden, how do you go from being a militant, Pan-Africanist, pro-Black person to being this diehard, like you were dyed in the wool, raised by a gang?
Most of these guys are presenting a facade. They don't even live the life that they're proclaiming in their music, none of it. And so they get out here and they get into this world that they're not even abreast of what's going on and how it plays out and what's really happening. And so they're playing this role, and then when they get into it with real people, then they don't know how to respond because they're not about that life.
All right, I'm going to play this next video. Here we go.
Comedian Corey Holcomb, please forgive me if I'm saying his last name wrong, made some wild statements about fatherhood. I'm not going to quote what he said. I'm just going to play the clip.
Listen to me, America, please believe me when I tell you this. This is not all men, but I would say it's about 80% of men. If we don't love your mother, we don't really love you, motherfucker.
Oh, come on now.
That sounds crazy to me.
Well, no. Oh, come on.
Let me tell you something.
Not love in that sense, but have some kind of love.
No. Listen to me. Darlene, you and all the rest of the people who not used to this shit. If we don't love your mother, our love for you is hard to we love you out of obligation.
That's how you feel like
To me, that goes for like stepkid, but not my real. Look at D, now D rubbing it on me.
Well,
but it is a case like that. Let me tell you.
He's
and he's speaking about black men.
Yeah. And what's interesting is that, people listen to him. I mean, it's fun, one thing being a comedian and telling jokes like this, but it's secondly to try to really think he's putting down some type of knowledge.
Right.
Let's listen to this one.
Pretty women see them sagging, better 100 stats. Niggas are running back, just having fun. I ain't even begun to black.
5150 show. This is Corey Holcomb here with Zoe Williams and his professional voice. We are taking calls. As we left, we were talking about bitches purchasing hair and avoiding having to purchase hair by impregnating themselves with a man with a long ponytail. Ponytails will always get you pussy at the club. If your girl is out.
You see how ridiculous this is?
But see, let me try to be a little bit fair. Because like you said, people say he's a comedian. And I'm like, if he's just trying to be funny.
It's nothing funny in that because of the devaluing, the dehumanization, the castigating. Again, he's representing the image of black women, and it's nothing funny about that. And I'm sick of people. I'm sick of people excusing his behavior in the name of entertainment.
Right. I don't like him at all. I don't. But I'm saying, if he came out and said, "Hey, I was trying to be funny," I could say, "Hey, shut the fuck up. That's not funny." I'm with that. But if he's trying to sell this bullshit as sage advice, I'm ready to punch him.
Rico, come on, let's not pretend that people aren't taking this, especially men aren't taking this as advice. Let's not pretend that most comedians who get up on stage are talking about their own personal lives and personal experiences and making comedy of it. Yeah, it's real. It's real, but they're just making comedy of it. So I mean, we can't pretend like this is not happening and that this is not some kind of way that he's saying this and he's joking, but he's serious.
No, but what I'm saying is this. I go back to my position, and DJ will tell you, I love listening to Richard Pryor, Red Fox, all the comedians of my day. And while I knew that they were speaking of their experience, I never took anything that they said as life advice. I just thought the shit was funny. So that's all.
Okay, even if it's not life advice, it's still something that these people are being derogatory towards women. Like, if black women really got up and started doing some real hellacious comedy about Negroes, then it will be an uproar. Then all these Jews will be on the street trying to kill every black woman. Niggas have always been able to get up. Have always been able to get up at the expense of black women and say the stupid, hellish stuff they say. And then say, "Oh, I was just joking," or some other man say, "Oh, he was just joking. It's comedy, it's entertainment, it's real freaking life." When black men are killing each other every 2 hours and black women are dying at the hands of men every 4.6 hours, it's real stuff. When black men are walking up to strange women and just hitting them in the face for nothing, that's real stuff. So I don't find any of this demeaning, derogatory behavior to be to be comedic at all.
Right. Well, I was going to say this, Gemini. I myself personally, I guess maybe the reason why he don't register on my scale is because I don't even think the motherfucker's funny. I think he's a horrible comic. I just take all the derogatory stuff. I'm like, he's not funny. That's why you on a podcast and why you're not on the fucking road. You're not. I've never been to a Corey Holcomb show.
But Rico,
he's not even
Rico, you're not the average black man.
Right, I accept that.
And so when you say I, it's not registering with me because there's not a lot of Ricos. There's not a lot of DJ Torches. There's a lot of people like Corey Holcomb out there. Yeah. Hey, Siobhan.
I agree with that. That's why I said I was just trying to offer it. I was like, well, is this like some goofy ass, stupid fucking humor? But you're right. So I fall back. I stand back. This ain't my lane. I've heard of this fool a few times. He's not funny to me. So I listen to nothing he says. I mean, literally nothing. But I do think when he came out with the trope about if they don't love your mother, they don't love you. I was like, he's a fucking idiot. So when I hear whatever he says, I'm like, he's stupid. He don't know what he's talking about. He needs to shut the fuck up, eat a dick. I don't care. Go die. You're fucking dumb. That's what I hear. So I hear the same thing.
The profanity, please.
Oh, sorry. I hear the same thing you hear. It's just the level of also, and when I hear people say, "Oh, he's a comedian," I was like, "Okay, so maybe I didn't get it." But what I hear is stupidity. That's what I hear.
All right. I'd like to kick a couple shout outs. Juju's in the house. Thank you for coming through, Juju. It's good seeing you. Quita's in the house. Marvel's in the house. We have Tiff, who's in the house. We have Claudette, who's in the house. Jen J is in the house. Tomas is in the house. Strum is in the house. Madison's in the house. Camo's in the house. We're going to keep this going. Oh, and Nosy by Nature is in the house as well. We're going to keep this going. I got a little something for you. We were just getting warmed up, folks.
Let me just say this.
Can I say something real quick, DJ?
Absolutely.
Hi, everyone, by the way.
Good evening or afternoon.
Yes, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Good morning, wherever you're at in the world. But I just wanted to correlate the R. Kelly piece with this Corey piece. And see, this is the problem that lies in this community where it all goes back to, these guys get a pass because they're entertainers and comedians. So this is the same storyline where we continue to let things bypass because the guy's told a joke or because the guy's an entertainer. So now we have to babysit him because him being an entertainer means that all these women are coming around and somehow he's weak-willed and he can't control himself. So we're supposed to give all of these miscellaneous passes and then wonder why we can sit back and allow the cycles to continue. There's never a limit. But if you go into any of these other communities and say some of this stuff, especially that joke that he just told, he would immediately have to go on an apology tour. We never, we don't have any boundaries in this community, and we never check people. We never create any type of gates and any type of caveats in anything. We just have a free-for-all community, and it's no surprise that what's still going on still exists, and we're allowing it in-house. So how do we expect anybody on the outside to respect us if we have no boundaries within our own kind?
Thank
well
you.
Said.
I agree. If I can just caveat, I'm not excusing it. I am not. I'm just saying I thought maybe because my ass is old, I was out of the know. Like I didn't know, like, oh, it's a joke, and y'all all laughing at my dumb and old ass. That's what I was kind of looking at. So I was like, well, before I jump out the window, because I don't think he's funny, and I don't like what he says, but of the little bit I've heard, because I don't listen to most of it, I've only heard it in passing. But before I jumped out the window, I just was like, and I'm not giving it a pass. I'm like, is this motherfucker serious, or maybe I'm just not getting it?
Well, no, yeah, Rico, because these guys, the difference is the Pryors and the Foxes. It's amazing to me how these guys were less educated, but they had more je ne sais quoi. They were able to make more subtle jokes. Now it's the wording, it's the ignorance, and the wordplay. It takes it into another direction. There's a way that you could tell a joke and you could, make it palatable. And these guys now, these aren't even jokes anymore. Pay attention to the fact that a lot of this is a lot of loud talking and cussing. That's not comedy. That's just you're being loud and you're cussing. But there's nothing funny about that. So these
Exactly.
guys aren't even entertainers like the guys of the password. Those guys were entertainers because it went from vaudeville where you had to hit the stage. These guys now, they're just sitting back, and that's why I said they're just saying sensational things, because this whole thing is governed by shock value. So people are trying to get as many clicks and views as they can by saying some of the most radical stuff, but at the expense of what and whom?
Black women.
Right.
I don't even like Dave Chappelle. I'm not a fan of him either. So it's very few Black male comedians. It's very few comedians that I care for at all, because of the way that they do things and the way that they present, and understanding that this is the face that people hear and see, and they make judgments based on those things. And it's enough that Hollywood is displaying us in a certain light. So we have to be extremely strategic about who we support. And I think we don't understand the ramifications of what these things present to other people, and how they precede us in our endeavors. They precede us. So you're introduced already before you make a move, and then you have to dial back everything that somebody thinks about you. You have to slowly chip away at those thoughts that they have about you because of how you've been presented already.
All right, here we go.
I guess. Here's a novel idea. How about the first place? How old are you, bro?
Now, listen, for just 5 seconds, okay? This is no joke here, but then I don't even know what the red pill idea of a high value man is. Is it just being rich? Like, what's the point of having all this money and not having a family?
What is a high value man? It's the first part of the tweet. What does that mean?
You tell me what a high value man is. Because here's the thing: is it doesn't matter what I'm going to say is a high value man. You guys are fucking
because it's your tweet.
Douche nozzles like yourself to have this conversation in the first place.
How old are you, bro? Douche nozzles?
Yes. You guys are idiots. Why do you guys come in here from Twitch stream? Like, how
you don't think Ben Shapiro is a high value man?
Let's take do I think he is? I don't think he's a high value man.
What is his definition? He owns his own business. It's like one of the most successful alt media platforms in the world. He's married his fucking young sweetheart.
Right. You know who else is not a high value guy? Elon Musk. Let's see. Who else? Jeff Bezos. Yeah, go back to Twitch. There's some advice for you. That's some real advice.
Your boy's here. Rollo Tomasi. Shout out to Rollo Tomasi in the fucking house. Bro, why are you in the chat, bro? Like, he's always in the chat. What else?
Hey, chill. He's probably doing his hair right now.
Bro, okay? he's our homie, man. Destiny just
it's not just your stream. Like, I see him in
Let me stop it right there just in case Destiny doesn't like his stuff used. I'm just going to stop it right there. As you can see, they are going over what a high value man is. And the list that Rollo Tomasi rolled out is quite interesting, but since he's supposed to be the grandfather of the godfather, whatever you want to call dude, who, for what I don't know why they even call Kevin Samuels that, because he's not, but let me show you what's going on.
Every show I go on, just dude's like, are you always online?
He'll be here next week.
Are you serious, bro? Valuetainment. Yeah, Pearl show, everything.
Would you debate Rollo?
Of course I would.
He would body you.
Okay.
He would body you. All right.
Just sure. As long as his wife wants him to it.
He would body you. Some older, skinny man would body. Yes, Massa would body you.
Bro.
Loves that.
Destiny just sends this week. OF girls to debate me because he's too scared to come to Vegas and sit across the table for me. Offer has been open since November.
Is Fresh and Fit in Vegas? Just asking if anybody knows.
Miami. I think they're in Miami.
Yeah, they're in Miami.
Yeah, well, they're permanently stationed. Yeah, Miami.
Damn.
If he wants to debate me on somebody else's podcast, that's fine. But I'm not going to go and like dig this guy up like fucking Lazarus from the underworld and try to resurrect his career. That's not my job.
He'll be here next week.
Okay, I'll be here too.
We should do a round table. Okay, round table.
If he wants to, yeah.
And he should debate your ass.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Let's pull up Rollo's tweet real quick because this has been a point of contention with SNEAKO. A lot of things. And we got it right there. So this was his tweet, right? It goes, and this was from a week ago? About a week ago? So the quickest path to becoming a high value man. Number one, don't get married, avoid family creation, vasectomy in your 20s, lift consistently, eliminate all sedations, learn game and networking, play to your strengths, build wealth, resist easing up on your focus.
Wow, we got a lot to unpack here. Because when you look at the list,
Yeah, this list is ridiculous.
Number one is trash.
It's like high value to other men, maybe if you want to brag about, you know, how many women you have. I guess that would make sense. I'm trying to look at it in their point of
that
view
list
because-
makes sense if you're gay.
Because let me ask you a question. Wasn't the normative that the quickest way to gain wealth was through being married?
Right.
That's what I've always been taught, is like you gain wealth through being married, not being single. So,
They don't know anything about that, Rico.
Okay.
You know that. They don't know nothing about. They haven't even found a woman. They don't even have a homestead. They don't even have a bank account, and they over here skipping and talking about marriage. Another thing that they don't know anything about. So this is ridiculous.
I was just like, damn, number one is wrong.
Yeah. So my opinion,
Because
my core opinion is this.
But let me ask you this, DJ. To be specific, if we went back in ancient times, people married to create wealth, kingdoms.
I said that the other day. Like,
Literally, the king of England
as it
would marry
pertains
off to the daughter of literally
Right.
because I'm like,
and they
what
didn't
the
give
fuck
their
are they
daughters
talking
to
about?
just anybody. They didn't give their daughters to
Right,
just
but-
anybody.
Yes.
And
So
that was a
let me break down the basics though. The basics here. My basic opinion is, excuse my language for a second, but these niggas be coming up with different definitions of a high value man every day.
Yeah.
Every day it's something different. And none of it has to do with what women really want. Okay, women want merit. See, the thing about this is that I thought when they were talking about a high value man, they were talking about what women thought was a high value, was valuable to women, right? And it's funny because women value marriage. That's not on the list. Women value family. That's not on the list. Obviously, if you get a vasectomy, you can't, in your 20s, you can't have. To me, right now, this list really explains
how men
how
view
to be a
other men.
Pookie and a Ray Ray.
No, it's a list for men to be high value to other men, not to women. That's for other men to see them as high value.
DJ, can I fix number one? Number one, where Rolo fucked up is what he should have said. Rather than saying do not get married, he should have said only marry within your caste.
He
Because
said what he said, Rico. You can't be fixing the list. What's wrong
No,
with you?
but I'm just exactly because the reality is history has proven people you marry, and which is the same thing. Ebony
Rico,
said.
Rico,
Okay,
Rico,
all right.
Rico.
I'm trying to
let me
help
you.
Goofy.
Let me
Rico
help
coming
you.
in with the red ink pen.
Right.
Gemini.
Let me help you. Let me help you. This list, none of this list is attributed to you and your ideology. Stop it.
I'm sorry.
You're trying to make sense of stupidity, and I'm going to need you to stop that.
Yeah, it's no way that you can make this look good. You know, it's not enough scrubbing, not enough repainting and fixing. We can't, there's nothing we can do with this, but just go on and dismantle the rest of it and call it a day, because this is just complete foolishness.
Yeah, it is. It's the thing is that I'm really on here really to debunk the overall high value man theory or mantra, because even Kevin Samuel's idea of a high value man it's not, because men want to be valuable to women. Let me get through that first. Men don't want to be valuable to other men unless they're unless they're hiding something, because men want to attract women. And that's why this is such a fraudulent list, because let's face it, where Tomasi went wrong was trying to say this makes, I guess what they're trying to do is this, and excuse me for bouncing around. I guess they're trying to convince women that this is what they should look for in a man. It can't be anything else, because when they talk about high value men, they're talking about it in a reference on how the dating field, these are so-called dating coaches, gurus, whatever you want to call it. But all of these, literally everything on this list, women, if they don't find it repulsive, they're not interested. So please correct me if I'm wrong, but I can't find anything on this list except for maybe 7. Play to your strengths and build wealth, but that's not really pertaining to a relationship. It does help. It should be number 1, really.
You know what? Go ahead, finish. Let me know.
Yeah, so I mean, avoid family creation. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm just done. I'm done. I can't.
Okay,
I can't,
you know what
this
is? Wait. And so this proves, it's funny to me because I'm reading Richard V. Reeves, and he's doing a RICO. Like 1/6 debating marriage and fatherhood a lot with thoughtful conservatives. One of the key points, he said, one of my key points is that married parents plan to become parents together, which I think most people would agree makes all the difference of stability, rates of unintended births, blah, blah, blah. So he's speaking about something that's not even on the list. The list says avoid family creation. Don't get married. So what is he even talking about? Like, what is he even responding to? You guys be responding to some stuff that don't even be on the list. Like, y'all just how do you make sense out of nonsense? Y'all just talk about something that doesn't make sense at all, and you comment on it like it made sense. Like, you come up with a whole new list other than addressing what these people are saying.
Well, see, this goes to show you too that this list has nothing really to do with women, in my opinion. I think that this is a follow-up list because, see, now they realize, we already know now that 100K rhetoric is gone because they already released those articles saying that 300K is the new 100K. So now they have to readjust these talking points now. So instead of this money talk, now they have to simplify it in order to keep these guys motivated. So I think that this is a list in order to now they're actually going beneath themselves now because they're trying to rally up the troops and get more followers in. I think the whole 100K thing that Kevin did, they talked a lot of mess, but that was something that most aren't going to ever be able to obtain, let alone maintain. So now they're just trying to give the great value generic version of a high value man. And he says it in this video. Well, high value man is what you want, it is what you make of it. That makes no sense. There has to be foundation. There has to be a foundational definition and a principle to being this if you're going to advertise this. And now you're going to sit here and say that Elon Musk and all of these guys are not high value, yet this whole high value conversation, the premise of it was based off of money from the very beginning. So it's just like, look at this. They don't even, this is what I keep saying. They don't even have a mission statement for their own movement. And you see why everything they do nosedives. And here Rolla Tomasi is not even a black man. So this ain't even a black issue. These guys have no morals, no principles, no secure foundation. The rules keep changing every other podcast.
And the crazy part, it's like the squirrel, like you throw a nut out there and the squirrel will chase any nut. Like the white people, all these white men have to do is throw something out there and they've distracted the black man and he's going to jump on it while the white man is doing something else over in the corner, messing up the black man's whole life. Like, it's crazy how easily distracted these Negroes are from what it takes to be established in the society that you live in. And they are so focused on material things and on superficial things that they can't even be deep enough to understand that this is fruitless.
Right, because how are you gonna be high value with no status? So with no status, which is a name, then no children to pass the wealth to. So what? You're gonna build yourself up to give the money back to the state?
Boom.
Exactly. Well, no, because they're not going to build themselves up because they can't do it unless they're doing it off the back of who?
Right, off of a woman. So this is why you see full hypocrisy. They're encouraging you not to get married, but then you get to step 7 and then all of a sudden you're building yourself up for what? Because what actually does make you high value is the fact that you are able to build up a name, build up a status, build up wealth, and be able to have a family to supply and transfer that wealth to. That is what makes you a high value man. What do you mean not having children? That makes no sense. Your taxes gonna be looking crazy. What is it that you have to live for? And then these guys are talking about running around having sex with a bunch of women when really that ain't gonna get you no money. That's gonna make you lazy. And in this day and age, it's gonna cause you a bunch of lawsuits when these girls start suing you left and right for the money. So it's just ridiculous. This is insanity.
Do you guys know what 2023 high value men build themselves for? They build
Say that
themselves.
again, Rico. Say that again.
2023 high value men build themselves for the validation and approval of other men.
That's what I was saying. That's what I said when we were reading this list. This is not for women. This is for men.
Yeah, this is for men.
Right. Short of the validation. All the women in the world could bend their knee and bow and wave their hands to them. They will not be happy unless their fellow men, kitten heels with a suit and candles and perfume, bless them.
And then they get mad if we say this is effeminate. Like this is effeminate behavior. This is real feminine behavior. It doesn't even make sense. And they think that they can speak for women as well as they can speak for men. Like, make it make sense. They tell us what we want, and they also tell us what they want. But what they want doesn't align with what they think we want. So make it make sense. They can't even make a list of things that they say that we want on that list when they speak for us. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So how is this a win-win situation when nothing that you've noted on this list is what you say women want?
Yeah, and can we just get to number 3? Because number 1 and 2 are the same. Okay, avoiding family, that's dumb. But look at number 3, where they're encouraging these men to get vasectomies in their 20s.
So they can, and the crazy part is they don't know how it would affect someone in their 20s. They don't. Not all of them are reversible. They're highly reversible. But what if you get? What if you're that one out of whatever unlucky people to be jacked up by it, and then you can't have your own kids? There also is a chance that you might jack up something and have premature ejaculation. Like there are things that can happen to you, and so you're going to do this in your 20s, and then we all know that these men are not cautious at all, so they're going to be raw dogging a whole bunch of people dying
and have STDs running rampant. So it's like they won't even be able to have children. You're going to have a bunch of mongoloids and weirdos running around with all of them STDs up into
Come on now, because a lot of them are already becoming resistant to medication.
Right.
That's true. I mean, my point is this as well, is number one, you're making excellent points, but the thing is that having a vasectomy in your 20s, that means that you're having so much sex, raw sex, that you find putting on a condom inconvenient. When really in your 20s, you should be doing number 7, which is play to your strength and build wealth. But so basically this is almost the reverse of what women want. But it's funny because these are dating coaches. That's what confuses me. These are dating coaches.
I mean, can we just stop that dating coach thing when they've never had dates themselves or they've never been married? Like, you know, I'm so sick of these people with these titles behind their names with no education and no experience themselves. That's just asinine. And the people who would listen to people like that are asinine. How do you have a man that has 2 failed marriages, not even 8 years long, telling you how to get a good woman? Like, miss me with these people.
Okay, let me kick out some shout outs. Miss Globe Girl is in the house. The Bro Speak podcast is in the house. Madison Goldman is in the house. Andre's in the house. Jen J is in the house. To the stage, Anthony is in the house.
Hello, hola.
Hey,
hi, Anthony.
What's going on, my man?
Hi, everybody. I'm glad you guys point out about dating coaches. They're full of crap. You know, they're not about that life. You know, you even got women dating coaches that pop up on the YouTube streets. Like, you know, when you guys click on different videos that are related to the topic, you'll have something called AdSense, and they'll play, you know, certain YouTubers, whatever. Like, there's this one woman named Marnie. She's Italian, or she's a white woman, and she gives topics that's more like a one night stand, not for relationships. And when I think about it, if people have to go to these guys for relationship advice, they're pretty much screwed up in the first place, you know, because like the old saying goes, you are who you attract, and that's basically it, you know. People fall in love more with, you know, a connection, like there's something genuine. Do we relate? Is the love reciprocal, instead of like, oh, what can I do to convince to make this person like me and whatnot, which it's just stupid, you know. And that's all I want to say.
Well said. That was well said. Let me play a little bit more of this video, and we'll go from there.
It's the quickest path to becoming a high value man. And I know that, you know, SNEAKO had some point of contention specifically with number 3, which is get a vasectomy in your 20s.
Can I just ask, why did he need 8 points? Did he like get contracted to write all 8 of these? Because like I see some duplication. So like number 2, avoid family creation. Number 3, vasectomy your 20s.
It's kind of the
Couldn't
same.
that be like collapsed into 1 point? Did he need 8? Did he feel stupid with like 6 or 7? Or
okay, I mean, you're.
I'm just curious, but
I
like
think
a
he's
reason.
clarifying it out. It's just 8 things. I mean, he could have said put them together, I guess.
The best person to ask question to is Rollo directly.
That's true.
So we'll do it next week, probably.
I hope so, yeah.
But this list is concise because once again, he's just saying in general, fastest way to get to that point.
Yeah.
What is high value man?
I think he means what he means in this context is being a guy that's like desirable to women and being attractive to women, so that you'll be I guess a marketable.
Those are incels.
No, but that just.
Oh my God. So these guys.
Those are incels.
Yeah.
They all are.
Either they have no clue. But I mean, women want families. Women want men women want men that don't have vasectomies, because you can't have a family if the man has a vasectomy. So it's I wanted to wait to see if they were going to explain or say we're explaining high value men for men, right? Like we're thinking, right? But you saw what come out of the dude's mouth, that they are talking. He's trying to make this. He's trying to speak for women.
So DJ, gay men don't care because they can't have babies.
Yeah.
Yes.
that's their target audience, right?
Yeah, it must be that.
Get a vasectomy because you can't impregnate Brad anyway. Right?
Yeah.
For down low, guys.
That's what I'm hearing. You can't impregnate Brad, so go ahead and get a vasectomy, and you don't accidentally impregnate Karen.
Karen.
That's what I hear.
See, I thought that we were going to come up with some. I never thought of that, message, right? But what we assumed is correct. That we assume
Brad
that they're
can't
trying.
carry little Tyrone, so you can get all of Brad's pussy and go ahead and get a vasectomy. It doesn't matter. That's it.
While Brad slaps him. While Brad slaps him and say, "There you go, my slave. Go, my slave."
Nothing else makes sense. It's like, what the fuck are you getting a vasectomy for?
Right. So let me get the ladies' point of view on this. I mean, is there anything that on this list that they can sell you? Because to me, it doesn't seem like. I mean, who wants an impotent man when you want a family?
You know what? I buy everything on that list from everyone that's sitting around that round table. Yes, I buy it all.
Oh man, I'll sell you the Hollywood sign for $1.
I get it. From everybody at that table, I agree. Thank you. That was funny.
Remember now, Rollo Tomasi made this list, and Rollo Tomasi is Kevin Samuel's teacher. And Rollo Tomasi is the grandfather of the red pill. So if he's saying this and the list is this flawed.
But DJ, not only Kevin,
said that, wait,
but
somebody
also
said he's been
Myron
married
and
for 30 years.
Yeah.
He himself has been married for 30 years.
Right.
That's why I said that these men, and he's not a black man, right? He's a white
Nope.
man.
White guy.
So that's what I said. A white man can sell these idiots anything, and they're flocking to buy it. They're flocking to buy it and be distracted while the white man is going to do something else with his life and keep you busy. Like they're so ignorant.
Yeah. And also, in addition to that, he's laughing in his room while he's profiting. He's like, I got these, what, insert whatever racial slur.
Yeah.
He'll say that.
But what's crazy is that Myron and Fresh, they are blind witnesses and cultist believers, and they're propagating, they're taking his idiotic points and they're selling it to a wider audience. So he could see Rolo was selling that shit to white boys, to white incels. Fresh and Fit are selling it to black incels because black incels wasn't listening to Rolo Tomasi because we've already known the history of the manosphere. It, irregardless of it being the manosphere, it's also built on white supremacy, meaning it's fucking racist. So he had to say, okay, and I personally believe that Rolo Tomasi is not even one of the top tier of the manosphere. He's at the bottom of the white manosphere because I think there was an issue of him and some guy something 21 had a beef. So he's not even within the manosphere. Rolo Tomasi is not the head motherfucker. He's at the bottom. But so what he figured is, how do I build up my kingdom? I got to get these coons and Latinos or Asians or any other non-white, because the white guys in that space aren't listening to this motherfucker.
So in other words, Pearly really is building her empire off of what Tomasi did.
Because they can't make it amongst their own. Same thing, right? He's a male Pearly. That's a perfect way. So with
no, she's the transgender version of him. That's what I'm saying.
So what I'm saying is he's doing the same thing, but he's just not doing it as cringy. He's staying on Manosphere code. She fucked up by getting off of Manosphere code and going out because even Manosphere, and be honest with you, the white Manosphere agrees with Nick Fuentes. They just won't invite that motherfucker. They will not readily, openly invite a Nick Fuentes, a David Duke, or anybody like that because they
people
know
who you have to understand that they understand, they comprehend, they understand that their businesses and anything that they do in life will be harmed by having someone like him on. So they're protecting themselves by not having someone like him on. Where black men aren't these black men that are doing this aren't intelligent enough to understand that besides that, even if they are, they don't have anything to lose because they are nothing already.
Right. And Pearly was too stupid. See, they're smart enough to know, like, look, if we have a Nick Fuentes, a David Duke, or any of the others white supremacists on, while we do agree with their ideology, that's going to bring attention from the federal government, the FBI, all the people that we don't want watching us. So they're not going to do it. They're just going to do it under. They do it. You know what they do it is? They're basically fathers' rights on steroids. So when I hear motherfuckers talk about men's rights, all the Manosphere is a men's right organization or a father's right. So it sounds like a noble idea, but it still is patriarchy on steroids, white supremacy on steroids, white nationalism on steroids. That's all the fuck this shit is. Take it back to the 1920s and 30s where a white man could beat the brakes off a bitch, white, black, blue, or green, to include a black man, to include a fucking Latino man. That's what they want to take these space back to. But they have to repackage it differently. And they got these dumbass Negroes who are too stupid to see that that's what all this shit is built on. So they hear Manosphere, they don't hear white. For some reason, they don't hear that word. I'm like, you shouldn't have to hear it. You can see it. But they choose to be willfully blind. And then they're like, okay, I'm going to pick up all this because they're looking out for me too. I'm like, when the fuck have these white men ever looked out for you? ever in the history of mankind, when have they ever advocated for your fucking issues, not advocating for theirs? They're advocating for theirs, and they're just telling you're stupid at. So literally, and this is the problem. This is the biggest problem I would tell you, being even married to a Latino, is the fact that I watched that literally they're pushing white nationalism and white supremacy so bad that they got people of color that are also going against immigrants. And I tell black people, I'm like, when immigration is not our fucking issue, why all of a sudden now y'all are out there marching for against the fucking border?
Again, easily distracted, easily led by anything and any cause. And I say it pisses me, it really angers me, because the bottom line is they aren't taking jobs from anybody that has bothered to do something with their lives. And let's be real, who's out there picking strawberries and really in those fields picking the fruit and vegetables? We wouldn't even have clean fruits. We wouldn't have fruits, vegetables. We wouldn't have a lot of things if it wasn't for the immigrants who come over here and do what they do. Not to mention that they will stand on the street. Those men will stand on the street for hours and hours in the morning, waiting for somebody to pick them up, only not to be chosen, but they'll show back up the next day just in case. And you can't even get black men to do a semblance of that.
And here's the crazy part about it, is literally I'm seeing more and more online where I'm like, why are these black people becoming so anti-immigrant? As if all of a sudden, let's pretend we built fucking Trump's wall and we kept them all out. Now you think these motherfuckers are gonna care about you? Are you
exactly? But that's their mind.
They just want you.
That
to
is their mind, Rico. That is their mind.
Idiot.
The same reason why they want to vote
for you.
That's the same reason why they want to vote for Republicans, because they think they're going to put black women in their place. Like everything, they are deluded, and they're easily distracted by anything and everything that they think is going to benefit them, all while not understanding that you're suppressed and everybody is leaving you behind.
Right, and that's the irony of it. Go ahead.
In addition to that, those guys want easy sexual access to white women without the law, prosecuting them. That I can add to it,
Right, yep. but my irony of it is I get so frustrated, because I always tell black men, I said, let me tell you, there's two things that's not our issue: immigration and taxes. That's a white man's issue. Okay, that's his battle. I'm never gonna fight the white man's. I don't give a fuck. I'll tell everybody this. I believe that, you know what, all the taxes should be paid by the top 30%. If you make the top 30% of the income in the fucking world, you should pay all the taxes. And anybody below 30%, if you in that top 20%, you should pay all the taxes. Fuck you. I don't understand why poor people cry about rich people paying taxes, because rich people don't even know if your ass alive, nor do they care.
Thank you. These idiots will vote against their own best interests. I'm telling you, they'll stand in the voting booth on fire. If they don't care. If they think it's gonna stick it to someone else, they'll stand in that voting booth on fire.
Because what they're doing is they're selling you this bullshit belief that, you could be rich like me. I'm like, no, you can't. It's a fucking racket. It's a game. Only a very small percentage of us will ever, I don't care if everything goes in your way, that's going to achieve that. It's a grift. And the bottom line is, it is not coincidental that the predominant people at the top look a certain way. That's not our issue. If you are a black person in America, anywhere in the world, taxes and immigration ain't your issue, because they don't even want your black ass here. You just already inside.
JJ said anti-immigrant, yet they are passport bros. Make it make sense. Yeah. Here Mark says they hate immigrants and want to move to Mexico, Brazil, and Colombia.
Yes. This shit is crazy to me. Thank you. It's literally, and what you do is you spend all your resources, time, energy, and attention fighting their issue.
No, immigrants is taking our jobs.
But you're not doing
wait, Rico. Yes, they are taking your jobs, Lit. I can't even argue with that. They're taking
your jobs too as well. They're gonna be eventually taking black women jobs as well.
Sir, they're not taking my job. My job requires much more. So they are taking your job.
They
agree with you on
they
that.
can learn the same skills you learning and take the job.
No, they don't have
Why
the
not?
same
Yeah,
skills
but
that
hold
I
on,
do.
Fled. They're not taking any jobs. There will be new jobs available by 2025, and guess where they'll be
AI is
located?
taking over
Hold on,
jobs.
Guess where they'll be located? Guess where the jobs will be?
Overseas?
Nope, in jail.
Yeah, I agree with say. Yeah, I agree with say this.
Because
Can
it's
I
getting
ask
ready.
one
It's
question?
getting ready to be illegal. See, this is
Yep.
this is the lack of foresight.
Yep.
I hope you realize that it's getting ready to be illegal to be unemployed and be out of school. It's getting ready to go back to where you're going to have to pull out your identification and you're going to have to pull out a tax form or something and have a hall pass, because loitering is getting ready to be illegal. You are not even going to be able to hang out anymore. If you guys think that they're going to allow what's going on in all these homeless encampments and all of this stuff to go on, you got another thing coming. They are going to do a sweep. And if you do not have an address, if you are unemployed, if you are not in school and you can't show that you have anything to do, you're going to be obsolete and you're going to be put in a camp and you're going to be a servant and you're going to be, you'll have a job and you'll have a bed. It will just be behind a state facility.
And Siobhan, can I just real quick, because I'm going to get off. I think it was in Arizona. They just sat there and lawfully cleared up this huge homeless encampment in Arizona. Let me just say that. And thank you. And I agree to say, you sat there, Flick, and you jumped in the conversation about jobs. I want to say this. As a black man, I give a fuck about them coming to take jobs if we're in
Wait, Rico. You have to understand that he's unemployed, so it's a concern to him.
Okay, but what I'm saying is as a black man, your main concern should be about the mass incarceration of people of color. Us being, as Siobhan said,
I'm not fighting on immigrant for my jobs. Are you wrong?
Excuse me, but I'm saying you worried about that, but still they're putting us disproportionately in prison. So sooner or later they're going to have to take the job because most of us are going to be locked up. Do you understand what I'm saying? They don't have to take a job.
What I will
there's not
say
enough
is
of
that
you
people,
niggas there to work
I don't
because
think
you're
that,
locked up.
Rico, I don't think they will be putting just anybody in prison. They're putting these people who aren't doing anything, these people who are rotating in and out.
I'm not worried about it.
Those are the
not
ones
worried
that
about
will
it.
be.
Right.
Those are the ones that will be doing all the work.
I'm not scared of it, but I'm just saying is that that's why I get frustrated, because when I sit there and I hear because I sit there and tell everybody, I was like, why would I ever cry about taxes? Because we did the big I'm like, every time they do a big tax cut, I'm like, I'm at the bottom. I'm down there with the working class, the middle class. We get fucked coming and going. What difference does it matter? I want more taxes on the wealthy. Period. So remember a few years back they did the what was the 99% when they were doing all that staging in New York City. I was like, I can't get why poor people keep crying about taxes on the wealthy. I'm like, tax those motherfuckers out of existence. They're not going anywhere. They should be paying 90%. I want to go back to the taxes of the Gilded Age where the rich paid all the fucking taxes. Period. I shouldn't have to pay any. They should have to pay it all.
Fuck. Peasants, wait. Rico, peasants paid. They paid in labor. So,
yeah, I don't care when they pay it. I'm saying
no. We will pay. We're still going to pay with labor.
Well, that's with labor. You're right.
Nobody escaped it. The rich may have paid more, but nobody escaped it.
You're right.
This is exactly what I'm talking about, Rico, because we're talking about mass numbers here. We're talking about millions of people across the country. And once they do this and they set up camp, then that's going to be the labor, and then not too long, they're going to end up being able to have, you'll be able to have an indentured servant. Remember Life with Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence. They'll bring that back around, and you can go ahead and pick out a nice guy that can clean up your yard from the state.
Yeah, the 13th Amendment.
Yeah,
they never repealed it. It's still in existence. So you're right. That's my thing is it's just like I get frustrated. I'm like, why are you guys championing Why are you guys championing the cause of the privileged? They're privileged. They're rich. They're wealthy.
Because they're intellectually inept. Like they can't conceptualize that these things are not applicable to you. Like there is no amount of proximity that you will have that this will ever trickle down to you.
They just want to fit in with white spaces.
Right. Especially for the fact that they
You
stay
can't.
talking
That's
all
the
of
whole
this
point.
slave
You
rhetoric. They stay talking about back in the day. They stay acting like they know what this is about, but yet they can't even see the reversal of this and how it's going right back to
But here's
where
the thing.
it essentially was at those times.
But what's crazy, Siobhan, is back in the day, it didn't even exist for us then. I'm like, still, if you go back in the day, you for what little bit of progress we made, and I mean we made very little progress, you motherfuckers are trying to repeal that. That's insane.
Well, that's because they know black men, it's black women that are really, really fighting this. Few black men are fighting it, but they know by and large, black men are distracted with other ignorant things and aren't out here fighting to have something and to keep something. So they know this already. Again, let's just make a podcast with stupid stuff and we can distract these people and we can do what we need to do because they're not on their grind. Now, the ones that we have to watch out for are black women. So because we know that they're willing to take risks, they'll start their own businesses, they're going to school. So we'll just keep them around because the black men are the ones that aren't being as productive. So we'll have a workforce because we can have all those black men in prison because they don't care about being in prison to do the work that needs to be done.
And see, they think they're going to hide. And see, here's how it's going to happen. What's going to happen is they think it's so many millions of people and that they can stay tucked in the corner pocket. But how they're going to get everybody is, guess what? You ain't even going to be able to go to the store. You ain't going to be able to go to the mall. You're not going to be able to enter any type of building unless you can prove that you are high value enough to even be there. So unemployed, you won't be able to shop. If you don't have anything, why are you here? Because once again, no loitering outside, and then you won't even be able to, ain't no hanging out at the mall, ain't no hanging out nowhere. Because look at what's going on. They're allowing the crime to ramp up. They're allowing us to get so frustrated, so heated that we are going to easily submit to all the plans that they already have on the back burner anyway. They're just going to allow us to have so much damage going on where we're going to say, forget it, put the restrictions in place. And then that's how they're going to be able to weed you out. And without an address, with the fact that you done burnt all the bridges with your family and everything, they are not going to allow you to stay on these streets because they're going to want the elite, which is the people that are spending money, to come outside and play again. See, you have to look around and realize that a lot of these industries are suffering. They're not making that kind of money because the morale is down as well as the economy. So in order to boost it up, you have to get the undesirables out the way. So sooner or later, we as John Q. Public will be able to say, hey, well, we want to come outside to play, get these degenerates out the way, and then boom, it's open season. And that's how they're going to round these guys up. And it's going to be old school like a paddy wagon. They're going to start picking you up. And if you don't have nothing to show for your life, you out of here.
Hey, Siobhan,
Let me wait a second.
Okay.
Let me read some. Who was that? Was that Rico?
Yeah, that was me.
Okay, let me read some of these comments. Jenny B says, then over the last few years, all these corporations been buying up all these homes. They know one of the easiest ways to acquire wealth is home ownership, but dust mites trying to on black women owning homes. Kitten says, he hasn't been in the D. Oh, I want to read that one. Hermar says, remember, these people put billions building these prisons. They are expensive to build, but they can become profitable if there are 75% occupied. So cops, states need to have quotas. Thomas says, these guys love being in prison because they get 3 meals hot in the cot. They got health and dental. Plus, they like to be told what to do, and they do homo stuff in there too.
Facts.
We know white people don't go to jail because their uncles are lawyers and judges. Black people don't have a clue how to fight legal issues, so they end up in jail for child support payments.
Absolutely.
Yep. Well, I just want to say this before I get off on my computer about to die. I was going to say this was, as an example, what Siobhan said and everything she said was facts stated on. I would say just look to San Francisco today. It's a city that, I don't necessarily think that its crime rate is substantially higher than it has been in the past, but obviously they're allowing all of these petty crimes and criminals to go unprosecuted, and then they're just saying, "Oh, it's a city," But San Francisco has this unbelievable high cost of living, housing costs. So it's created San Francisco, because of the housing costs, has created an enormous homeless population. So it's enormous petty crime. So that's the perfect test tube for them to say, this is why we need to crack down. So what Siobhan is talking about is a precursor to martial law. Okay, so we got to do
Yep.
martial law, and we got to start rounding up all these Negroes, Latinos, Asians, poor white trash, this, that, whatever, and start housing them, this, that, whatever, because they're committing all this crime. So what they're doing is they're allowing the crime to get out of hand so that the population is accepting of it. That's what they're doing. So if that model is successful, and it seems like it's getting closer and closer, when I see what's going on with San Francisco in the news, so they talk about San Francisco now as much as they used to talk about Chicago.
Yes, they
And
do.
then that's going to be the model. Oh, this is how we turned around San Francisco and we cleaned it up. And that's what they're going to use as the model. And they'll start with the big urban city, and eventually they would just roll it the fuck out. They have to have a model where this is what the problem was. And I think right now San Francisco is it. So we got to keep our eyes open. I just keep telling people of color, like, look, our problems today are the same problems as they were yesterday. It ain't motherfucking taxes, immigration, and all this other bullshit that these people, crime, I don't even think it's crime. We've been dealing with rampant crime since we fucking came over here in chains. Crime ain't
No, I do think it's crime. I still think it's crime.
I do think it is, but I'm saying is I don't want to take it on the way they take it on. I don't want to help these motherfuckers. I don't want to help white supremacy. That's what I'm always keeping my eye on.
But when you say you don't want to help them, is in terms of
I want to protect us. Yeah, I want to
protect us. How, when you have a group of criminals?
I agree with that. Right. Shut them down. I'm not saying not to. I'm just saying is I can be for, okay, let's do it, but I'm just always leery about, because again, like I said, I look at San Francisco. I want the crime to stop. I want them to clean it up. I want them to throw these motherfuckers in jail. I'm just curious. I'm scared of how much power they get, because we've seen when they have unchecked power, how they apply it to us.
When you have a demographic of mostly black men doing what they do, there's nothing we can do about that unless good black men are going to go out there and stop them.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm not saying not to do it. I'm not.
And what's essentially extremely insane to me is that you have all these people. Do you know how many billions of dollars have went through the hands of black men, and they've done nothing? Yeah, they've done nothing. You have your NBA, your NFL, your entertainers, your pastors of mega churches, and what have they done with that billions of dollars? I just
don't want them to apply that same principle in the places where it doesn't need to be applied. So while it does need to be applied, whether in New Orleans, New York, San Francisco, I don't want it to be applied in middle America that has a high, parts of Mississippi that has a high black population that doesn't have a high crime rate, but they just look at black men and it's like, okay, well, we don't have the same crime problem here, but you're applying it the same way, because that's the way they use in the 13th Amendment back in the day. Anytime they saw a black face, if they just saw two niggas standing on a corner, that's a gang that's loitering. That's what I'm just scared of. But other than that,
it's nothing you're gonna be able to do in terms of these private prisons. They're able to run outside of the state guidelines. So they're definitely gonna have a vice grip, because with the fact that they're private ran, they don't have to follow the same protocols as the ones that ran.
I'm about to die, so I'm about to drop off. I just didn't want nobody to think I was being rude. because I'm at 1%.
Okay, thank you, Rico.
Thanks, Rico.
All right, love you guys. Talk to you later.
Yeah, these
I
guys.
was pushing that agenda for them.
Well, but see, it's nothing about an agenda, because the agenda should have been, let's get it together. And because you haven't, and because all these opportunities have been opened up and you haven't capitalized off of them, and now the world doesn't care anymore, because this is just a global global incident that's taking place, and it's just too many different people. And when you have, these people are homeless and are overpowering, and the police and the government and the taxpayers, everyone is frustrated, because now what happens is, instead of the local bum, or we used to call them bums, and instead of the local homeless guy around the way, we're now having them in teams. This is 20, 30 people hanging out in front of one store. That's dangerous. And the smell, the fecal matter, the disease, all of that, the crime, the drug abuse, the trash that's being left around. This is something that we have to deal with as the taxpayer. So as everything keeps inflating, and we all start catching on fire, then we all gonna have to start literally stop, dropping, and rolling. And how we gonna put the fire out? By getting rid of the undesirables. And that's why they're pumping us up now, to the point where, guess what? People are not gonna have any type of sympathy or apathy for anybody, because it's so frustrating, between your money running dry, the rent going up, everything. This is just multiple fires burning. How do you expect people to find sympathy in that? No one will. Not if I'm getting up every day handling my business. What do I care about 80 people sitting outside that don't even want to get up and go to work, especially these men, all these warehouses hiring, and these guys don't want to get a job? It doesn't even make any sense.
Hey, Bro Speaks. Welcome to the panel.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Yeah, I got to agree with the lady here. I mean, look what happened with Jordan Neely. I mean, is anybody really going to be? I mean, there's some people marching, but it ain't that many marching.
How many black men are out there?
As far as I've seen, not that many.
Right.
I mean, but here's the thing. Why would you? Because if you look at his
Wait. Why would who?
Why would they?
Why would who? Black men?
Yeah. Why would they?
Because they're going to be subject to the same treatment shortly by anybody.
But they don't
and
care.
there won't be prosecution.
Yeah, I know, but they don't care about that.
So they don't care about them. Again, here we go. Black men don't care about themselves. So why should black women be out here caring at all? The black men won't march for one another. So why are black women? I don't get it.
I don't get it either. I've been saying that. I've said, black men, why y'all marching for these dudes?
White men be getting prosecuted. The police been getting prosecuted of late.
I mean, that's all a facade. How many of them are actually convicted?
They're getting convicted, but that's
how many are actually convicted with any type of significant time? How many?
Sometimes it depends what state you in. In New York, if there's a
it
white
doesn't
cop
depend on the state. It doesn't depend on the state you're in, Flip. Not there. Again, there haven't been many prosecutions that ended in conviction that ended in any significant amount of time. Hey, bum.
What's the name? With the civil? What's the name? The civil rights. With the civil rights, you could put the civil rights also. That like what's the name? That got choked. I mean, that got his knee on him, his neck.
Only because it was publicized. Only because it was publicized. Only because it was publicized, and it was about to tear the country up.
Yeah. So with the cameras that the cops have to wear, they're always going to be publicized, but they have to release that by public.
No, not every police department is wearing cameras. Not every police.
No, you have to wear the camera. You have to pretty much.
Not every police department is wearing cameras. Again, like I said.
And this isn't even a state. This isn't even going to be a state issue. See, this is how I know you're still behind you're still a couple of blocks back, Flint. This is getting ready to be a one world thing. So all of that state stuff, don't you see how they coming together with the currency and everything? They are getting ready to make one whole being because they don't have time for people to sit up here and try to hire all these people to sift through all of these laws. No, they're getting ready to make this all across the board. So that way you can run, but you won't be hiding nothing. You are going to have to put up or literally shut up and go work for the state. That's just where this is going, because this is about population control. It's too many people running around who are obsolete and who have nothing going on. And there's no way that you can tell me that hundreds of men throughout these multiple cities, we have 50 cities, 50 states within this country. You cannot tell me that having 100 men in each state running around not doing anything is not going to cause harm. It increases the crime, it increases assault, and even women now are not, they're going to end up coming together, because do you think that we're going to have these guys running around where we can't even go shopping, we can't even do anything because we have guys in the parking lot waiting to assault or rob us? Come on. I mean,
Okay, black men is doing damage, but you see what the white men doing? They're killing people.
This is men, period. Notice I'm not even saying a black issue. This is men. That's why I said this is global. They don't even get this. This is global. This is, all hands are going to have to be on deck. This is no longer, racism is so played out that y'all don't even realize that they've left that to the little minuscule thinking people to play around with. They're sitting up here playing. This is big boy stuff since the pandemic. This is nuclear. This is chemical bio warfare. And y'all sitting over here talking about some old simple Simon racism. They just placate that to keep the cage rattled with all the commoners. This game is way bigger. This is bigger than Nino Brown, y'all. Come on.
Yeah, they keep us divided like that. And again, like I said, they going after the incels, I know we talking about they going after the black mantra, but
wait a minute. Who's keeping us divided? Who's keeping us divided?
They keeping the poor blacks, the poor whites, all them divided. Meanwhile,
we're keeping ourselves divided. You didn't hear what I just said. We're the ones that are divided off of old rhetoric. They are not playing this by this anymore. This is big boy games. And especially since the pandemic, that's when they introduced this. I don't know why everyone as a collective can't see that this is way bigger fish to fry now than that old crisscross applesauce racism stuff. They leave that kind of rhetoric for us to play with because they're far ahead. These people are thinking in advance. See, the black community, the whole guise is, let's hurry up and do it today. We don't know if we're going to be here tomorrow. Well, we already know that the oppressor, he plans hundreds of years in advance. He's making plans for his grandson to run this. So he's not worried about death because he knows as long as he has a plan in place, then the slaves will continue to recycle themselves. But we're, on the other hand, over here talking about who need to be washing dishes and making a plate of food instead of thinking about the ultimate future, which is already taking place right now as we speak.
Yeah. Andre, how are you?
I'm doing well. How is everybody this evening?
Hi, Andre.
Good.
Hi, everybody. What I wanted to add to, this is a great conversation. So, but I just wanted to add my 2 cents, which is racism is simple, and it's for the simple-minded. And if you don't believe me, just look at what's going on now. Like everything is, people like to pinpoint that every little thing is racist, but they're not looking deeper into the matter. And while we're all screaming about racism, some of the dudes that screaming about racism, they mock marching. They say marching doesn't work. That's why I came up here because a lot of the men, they mock marching. They say, oh well, no, marching doesn't work. Marching doesn't work. It never worked for us then. So why is it working? Why would it work for us now? Because you're supposed to care about one another. It's about caring for your fellow brother. It's about caring for your fellow man. It's about caring for your fellow woman. But these dudes, these new age dudes, don't care about that. The only thing they care about is what's going on between their legs. They're not thinking, because if they did think, they would be like listening to, they've been like speaking facts of what Siobhan said. and just said, "Yo, this is a lot bigger than what you think it is. Think outside the box. Think outside your pants. Think outside of your bed. It's a lot that's going on that should concern you." But they're not going to do that. They're not, because you got one too many people, one too many talking heads controlling them and saying nobody cares about you, nobody thinks that you're worth anything, and now they leave this victim mentality of just thinking, well, we're not mounting anything, so why should we care about anything? Why should we build? Why should we try to build our community? Why should we be doing this? Why should we be doing that? Instead of
Yeah,
saying
but
why, oh, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead, Andre. Go ahead.
I said instead of saying why, you should just say why not? Why not try this? Why not build? Why not try to go and get these jobs and get these opportunities? And I just wanted to share one last thing, because I don't know if it was Gemini or it was Siobhan that was talking about like sports players and this that and other thing with sports and basketball players and football players, and how they get money like through their fingers and they don't do nothing. Let me just share something. The government is going to allow those people, the entertainers and the basketball players, the athletes, they're gonna allow you to be rich. They're not gonna allow you to be wealthy. Look at who owns the teams. You get
No,
you,
those people are wealthy though,
no,
Andre. I mean, anybody
they're not wealthy.
yeah, anybody who has millions and millions of dollars are wealthy.
No, they're not wealthy though,
They're
because
wealthy enough. They're wealthy
they're
enough to make
they're
what I'm saying. Let me say this.
okay.
Because of who they are, if they came together, they can make that wealth work for the demographic, is what I'm saying. That's the reason why I brought it up. It's far too many black men that have had millions, that I mean, signing multiple-million-dollar contracts. Multiple-million-dollar contracts. These are wealthy people in the grand scheme of things that could have come together and done something to make a better life for people that look like them. But because they're too individualistic, they don't
I agree with
care
that.
about people who look like them. And on top of that, you have
Good point.
entertainers, you have mega churches, you have all of these people who've had millions of dollars. So
Can I add some doors with that?
no, you can't, because I'm getting ready to ask for last comments. You can speak when I do last comments, Flint. I can't
Okay.
go back and forth with you.
I'm not going back and forth. I agree with that, but I want to add a point.
Go ahead.
Regarding like it can the previous generation, like the way I was growing up. I mean, my parents was growing up with Diana Ross and those celebrities. They didn't do nothing much neither, and they married. Most of the Diana Ross
And your
got with
point
white
is
men.
what? Your point is what?
So they
What's
didn't help
your
the.
point,
Well,
sir?
they didn't help the community. They didn't help the community
Okay,
as
and
well.
so you're making the same.
The younger
Okay,
generation
no. I can't.
Yeah, but see, but see, that's what y'all love to do. Y'all love to go back and then, well, let's take the heat off of us and go back to another generation. And it's pointless, because really the new protesting is putting your money where your mouth is.
Right.
That's what this is about. So until these men get together, and we already know that there's an ego problem that lies with men, especially within this community. And it's because the reason why these guys don't want to get together is because everybody wants to be the head Negro in charge. Everybody wants their name in lights. They don't want to super glue their name together with 5 other men and they all sit at the round table and all be bosses amongst bosses. No, they want their name bigger, the font bigger. They want to be able to go around on a press tour and act like they were the ones, like they are the God, and that they are going to feed the people and give back to the community. So the over glamorization, the egotistical behavior, you have to put that to the side and humble yourself in order to be a leader amongst leaders and to form a conglomerate and or corporation of men who are willing to put the work in. And that's the verbal work, and that's also the financial. But sitting around waiting for somebody else to stand up for you, but then you're jumping on these podcasts complaining about another man getting choked out as if this hasn't happened for decades. Well, guess what? Who's that on? And we're not going to go back to Diana Ross and the Supremes and them and those people who just barely came off of Jim Crow and really didn't even get any kind of money. Diana Ross is 76 years old, still performing. Smokey, these people are still performing. They have not made half the money that
because
these young
they didn't have the rights to their
Right.
own
They didn't even have the
royalties.
rights to their own royalties. The laws have changed due to so many people being screwed over. So it is our duty as the next people over who have had the greater chance. We have to be the ones to step up. You're sitting here asking 80-year-old people to go back and do what? No, they passed the baton a long time ago. So why are athletes signed to $190 million contracts and you're broke 5 years after you've been playing? That's a problem that needs to be addressed, which is financial literacy. So we have to address the mental mindset that goes on here and stop sitting here finding excuses of over who we're going to blame for our problems today. When, like I said, no one is using racism. No one is sitting around trying to figure out how to bring somebody down who's already down. There's no agenda for you anymore as a black man. It just isn't. There's no way you can sit up here and tell me that.
Jen J just sums it up perfectly. Folks don't want progress. They want to maintain their status of top flight victim of the world.
Exactly. That's the thing. And see, this is also too how, see, what happens is repetition. And what happens is people are afraid of change. And because they've already been running with the same rhetoric. They're afraid of moving on to new jokes. They're afraid to moving on to new platforms. Why are we still in entertainment and sports in 2023? Why is that still the top? Why are we still placating to the same cartoons and the same so-called propaganda that they put out about us only being for entertainment? Why are we still placating to that in 2023? But yet you guys are sitting around, these men on podcasts talking about screw education when most of them haven't even read a book in the last 30, 40 years. That's a problem.
Facts.
It goes. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm just gonna just say this and then I'm gonna go off. It goes back to people thinking that there's an agenda because they love to think everything has an agenda and listen, look how people think everything is now woke. The reason why people hate change is because, like I said, they go on here, they go on places like YouTube, and they get fed these stupid lies and illogical talking points. When I saw y'all talk about SNEAKO, I was like, are y'all talking about the kid SNEAKO, that kid? Because there's a lot of stuff y'all don't know about SNEAKO that can be shared, but y'all about to go to closing arguments. But stuff like yeah, but like stuff like that, like you have a lot of just people who don't think for themselves, and it goes back to thinking outside the box. They hate thinking outside the box. They hate new things. They hate just new logical things. As many times as we're on the phone, as we're on the computer, and I'm talking about my generation. As many times as they're on like the phone and younger, they're on the phone and they're on the computer, they can do amazing things, but they're not paying attention. It goes back to people having that materialistic logic. That's why you see so many football players and basketball players broke within 5 years. Because instead of having that literacy, that financial literacy, they're trying to get like the next biggest chain, the biggest, the best car. Where at the end of the day, you see the dudes that's owning the teams, they have generational wealth. They're a bunch of old, old, yellow white dudes that have been wealthy for decades. Their name means something. Their last name means something. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, you got people that's trying to. Our people is trying to get the next hottest thing, the hottest thing off the market. Where we should be, like y'all said, putting our money together as well as trying to to just build and build together. But it's so much ego that goes back to the materialistic, because that leads to trying to get the new thing. You're trying to get the biggest thing over the new hotness, over the next man, instead of trying to build together. It's 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 just, people are just, they don't think. They don't think outside the box, and this is why black males are still in society are lacking, because they think everything is an agenda. They think everything, they're attacking them because they're a victim. They think of all this stuff, and it's like, come on, bruh. Like,
But they've been doing this for the longest, though, Andre, because if you look at it, this is just a repeat. This is what they've been telling black women for decades. And before we were isolated. Now they're still holding on to these same talking points, trying to act like it's an agenda so that they can brainwash black women into allowing them to lay up in their house for free unemployed. And we're already seeing that no, that's a lie, because too many opportunities have been opened up to the point where now look at this whole gender war situation. They're basically saying that the agenda is to separate us. Separate what? Separate a bunch of people who are already separated and never together. We were actually forced to be together, which is why we couldn't form functional families and relationships, because we were forced. But then there was the lack of education and the lack of not knowing that we had mental issues. Now we're able to address these things. But if we're going to sit around a bunch of men who don't want to address these things because they're still trying to play blame games and they don't want to heal, well, then it's just a waste of time, and we're going to have to keep rolling. So
yeah,
that we don't get caught up in the fold of this, because women do overall, no matter what, want stability and security. I don't want to end up in one of these concentration camps. I'm good. So no, the only agenda is to get up and live and fight another day.
yeah,
Okay, I need to
And with
make
that,
some shout outs real quick. Shout out to Henry Mars in the house, Camo in the house, Miss RV in the house, Alonzo Fraser in the house. We have You Can't Get Laid in the house, Vanna Ray in the house, Madison Goldman is in the house, Bomb Cherry is in the house. Everybody, this is a great crowd tonight. I appreciate seeing each and every one of you. Jen J is in the house, Jenny B is in the house, Henry Mars is in the house. Let's keep it going.
I'm going to go ahead and ask for thoughts. Let's start with you, Andre.
I'm sorry. I'm just gonna go go down. Like I said, this was a lovely conversation, and it's just sad that conversations like these aren't being had, because people love, like, black men. These new age black men love being the victim more than being the victor. And like I said, it's just sad that they don't understand that, and it goes on us, on black men as well, on the good black men as well, because you have to, like, pick them up and yoink them by the neck and say, yo, what the hell are you doing? And there's not that many black men who's yoinking these dudes by the neck and are saying, yo, what the hell are you doing? What's going on? Like, we do have problems. We do have mental issues. We do have issues with education. We have to acknowledge these things instead of just playing ignore and just saying, well, everybody's attacking us, because you're basically attacking yourselves. We're attacking ourselves at the end of the day, and it's not helping. It's not healing. That band-aid is just going to get ripped off constantly. So that's all I gotta say. Y'all have a good night. Y'all have a blessed night.
Thank you, Andre. Bro speaks.
Yeah. As far as that whole victim mentality, yeah, I agree with Andre. It is a victim mentality, and if it's not a victim mentality, is more like a elitist mentality. I don't want to march for this guy or whatever. Okay, fine. You don't want to do that. That's great. But at least have a system so that you can help these guys before they become a problem where somebody else going to take them out. And I see that black men don't want to do that. They either want to baby these dudes, or they want to run from them as much as possible. But at the end of the day, you still going to need your brothers to do what you need to do as black men. You're gonna need them. I'm not saying get with the dudes who want to stay on dumb shit. Yeah, leave them to the side. Give them a chance, but they want to stay on that dumb shit. Okay, well, hey, you stay over there, and you get swept up. Whatever happens, happens. I'm all for that. But the men that really want to do something, yeah, we're gonna have to get together and build up a system so that these young men who might be having these mental issues, we can help them. Because, like, hey, if you got mental issues out there, they're gonna deal with you. Either they're gonna put you in jail or put you in the grave. Either in jail or the grave. Which one you want to be? I prefer to be up top and living as much as I can. But if you still worry about what these women doing, what they women did in the past, what they're going to do, you're not going to build anything. They just going to, okay, we'll just throw these women in front of you, the white women, the Asian women, all these women in front of you, distract you from the real situation where if you don't got no skills, resources, if you ain't about your shit and your family and your legacy, they're gonna deal with you, and they're gonna make you a worker, a slave, forever. It's just the way it's gonna be. But anyway, thank y'all for having me up here.
I'd like to shout out Bridget and Jay Daniels in the house.
Siobhan.
I was raised by a pro-black, mother, and she is very much about her people. But due to the current circumstances, we have to think bigger than this. It's about time that we start thinking about family in terms of the people who not look like us, but think like us. People who make us feel good, people who are that we're able to connect with and exchange resources and ideas with. Because sitting around with a bunch of so-called family members who aren't producing and aren't enriching your life and keeping them around because they share the same skin tone with you or because they grew up down the street with you is pointless, and it's going to continue to hold you back. You are going to have to cut off some of these shiesty family members, some of your friends you grew up with. You are going to have to let these people go and stop living in an idealism of where every day, one day everybody wakes up simultaneously and has the same thought to get to it. That's not going to happen. You're living in a land of delusion. After the whole Black Panthers in the 70s and everything, we've never been the same. And we have to recognize that. It's okay that those movements happen, and they brought about a lot of changes. And no matter what the pros or cons came from that, we are in a new day and age where we have to be open, because see, what happens is, and I myself have been guilty of passing up potential opportunities because I was looking for someone that looked like me to offer them. And I dropped the ball when someone else could have been of assistance. So we have to be careful how we're moving forward, because you really don't owe anyone anything. You got to get it for yourself. We're talking about a so-called community that consists of millions of people who have all these different thought processes. So there's no way in the world that you can assume that every person that you pass by that has the same skin tone as you has the same ideals and the same mindset. This is the portion of the argument that continues to keep holding us back, and it's a vicious cycle. You have got to get in alignment and hook up with people who are inspired and motivated the same as you. And if they happen to be shorter than you, taller than you, darker than you, lighter than you, then be open to giving it a chance. But sitting around waiting for a dream, you're only going to wake up into the nightmare that is existing right now. We got to push forward. You got to find the people who have the mindset, because there's no program on the planet that we could put together, that the government can put together, that is going to change a mindset of someone who does not want to get up and hit the pavement and make life happen. That's it. That's all. Thanks for having me.
Siobhan,
Thank you
once
for
again-
always. Go ahead, DJ.
Siobhan, once again, thank you. I'd like to kick in some shout outs real quick. Henry Mars is in the house. Bomb Cherry is still in the house and welcome. And so welcome to see her. Please check out her channel as well. Big J is in the house. Miss RV is in the house. Alondra Frazier is in the house. HT Baldwin is in the house. Andre is in the house. Jenny B is in the house. Camo is in the house. Marvel is in the house. All right. So on behalf of DJ Torch Live Network, thank you so much for being here, spending time with us. And feel free to chat while we give you a little bit of going out music. You can chat all you want till the music ends anyway. Here we go. Welcome, Prism. Prism, it's good seeing you.
Money work. El mundo quiere dinero. Money work. Se arregla con dinero. Money work. Si me quiero educar, dormir en algún lugar. Un lugar para trabajar, y si no hay para emigrar. Todo money, money, todo el dinero. Solo un par de gente se lleva el botín entero. Funny, funny, pasa verdadero. Si tienen lo verde siempre llegará primero. Pero llegaremos antes o después. Solo a lo suyo, que Dios te lo ve. Que por más que tarde lo veré caer. Somos más lo bueno y tenemos fe. El dinero ya lo veré. Yo vendo mi alma, lo lograré. Seré el más grande, no olvidaré de dónde vengo ni cómo voy. Money work. El mundo quiere dinero. Money work. Se arregla con dinero. Con dinero. Money work. Yo digo las cosas como son. No quiero ninguna aceptación. Tampoco vengo a pedir perdón porque mis sentimientos se volvieron la canción. Yeah. No me vale mucho como tú me ves. Sabes, tú me llegas solo a los pies. Para mí ser grande es un interés. Ser un buen humano para mí es un deber. El dinero ya lo veré. No vendo mi alma, lo lograré. Seré el más grande, no olvidaré de dónde vengo ni cómo voy. Money work. Yeah. El mundo quiere dinero. Yeah. Yeah. Money work. Se arregla con dinero. Yeah. Money work. Corazón, de corazón. La plata no te hace ser feliz. Yeah, de corazón, yeah. La plata no te hace ser feliz. Money work. El mundo quiere dinero. Yeah, 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 yeah. Money work. Money work. Money work. Money work. Se arregla con dinero. Money work. Lunes.
Thanks again, everybody.
Lunático.